All right, we're live. You can do the intro.
Welcome everyone to the Crypto Freak Show Chapter 14. My name is Darko, your co-host this evening, accompanied by my fellow co-host Rob. Rob, how are you doing this fine dark evening, sir?
I'm fighting a cold, but I'm doing great. Nice to see everybody.
And likewise, and also we are joined by special guest, Mr. Richard Hart himself, the man, the beast, the machine. How are you doing tonight, Mr.
Doing
Richard?
right. I'm doing good. I've promised everyone a chill stream since my last stream was so stressful. So this stream should be easy.
I actually haven't had a chance to see your last stream yet, so what happened there? That was so stressful.
When you talk to smart people, a lot of times there's this trade-off. People that get smart, they lose some social ability, and so they lose a little empathy. They find it like hard to know when to pause and how long they should talk for and stuff like that. And then when there's a lot of stuff to say, you just end up with a ton of interruptions. And then everyone that's watching is like, no, like finish an idea. So if you've ever talked to somebody that's autistic, maybe that's a good reference. I don't think I'm autistic. I know how to speak slowly and pause. So
are you referring to an interview or a live chat?
it was a live stream I did yesterday where everyone was just like, never again, never again. It's the same shit they said the first time, but I forgot. Because I don't mind. Like, I really don't mind. Like, I can talk to anybody. But for the people that are watching, it's more stressful.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't have stress.
Say again?
What was that, Rob?
I said he won't have that problem here. He's got two cavemen interviewing.
Nice.
So
I've never seen your guys' stuff. I hope it's good. You pitched me as laid back and fun infotainment. So let's do that stuff. I hope you've got good questions.
Oh yeah, this is all about fun and information, crypto and even non-crypto. So it's
Great.
Everything. Now,
all right, well, hit me. I'm ready.
For the viewers watching, to avoid any confusion as to what exactly is going on here on Crypto Freak Show on Richard Hart's channel, we're live. Crypto Freak Show doesn't normally do live. It's pre-recorded and premiered. What we're doing is, what you're about to see today, there's going to be two versions of it. One is this live stream, and the second version, which will be out in the next 2 weeks, will be a heavily edited with an intro, outro, special effects. It's going to be two sick versions of this interview today. So we hope everybody enjoys the show. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type in the live chat box, which I can't see right now. But I think, Richard, you can.
Yeah, I mean, you're never missing anything not seeing the chat box, truthfully. Your life is probably better not ever seeing the YouTube chat. I leave it on there, I record it, it shows in the video, but you're not missing much information.
I must admit, Richard, I'm a very stubborn guy and I don't really watch YouTubers except for a couple, and you're one of them.
Nice, thanks.
Supposed to say something. But what I've noticed is there's a lot of YouTubers and influencers out there who have great delivery, poor content, and there are others who have great content, poor delivery.
Agreed.
So I'm sure we've all gone searching around looking for different shows, different panels, different influencers, and there's always something missing. And it's been narrowed down to just two that I watch, yourself and another entertaining guy called Crypto Daily, which is really, really good.
He's hilarious. He's fucking hilarious. He actually has production value, does editing. I won't even edit anything. Like, I won't make if there's a bunch of dead time before the video starts, I'm leaving it. Fuck you guys. Use fast forward. I have better stuff to do than sit there and fix it, right? His stuff's hilarious. He's funnier. He's focused on funny. I'm not really focused on funny. Could be, but.
With the whole editing thing, a lot of people watching wouldn't know that on average, for every 1 minute of video you watch, is about 1 hour's worth of production.
Shit takes forever. It's totally not worth. It took to make the stupid thumbnail for this video took longer than I wanted. Like, just making a thumbnail is actually not the easiest.
No.
Because you're like, yo, my Photoshop doesn't work for some reason. Oh, well, now I've got to reinstall it now. Oh, well, I've got to use Paint. Oh, when I select something and then like use the Paint tool, it doesn't fill what I've selected. Don't know why. You're like, why does this take so long? So am I going to install GIMP now, or am I going to have to reboot to fix my Photoshop install? It all sucks.
It does. It does indeed. So speaking of which, please tell us about your YouTube journey. What made you decide to one day start your channel?
So I had retired in 2003. I had 150 employees, did 60 million a year in sales, and like my third or fourth company that I did. So, I started my first company out of my front yard in my dad's house, installing car stair equipment in people's cars and retailing it to them. And then, opened a store, hired my friends, and then had a buddy that sold shopping cart software, teamed up with him, did a white label website builder, and then got a client that did mortgages, and then did search engine optimization for him, and then did search engine optimization for everybody, and then opened a mortgage company and a lot of other businesses, like anything we could sell on the internet. So I just quit and started traveling the world, left the States in 2003, been traveling ever since. And, Bitcoin came along like 6 or 7 years later. I mean, I guess to me it would be 8 years later, because it was 2011 when I got in. I got in first quarter of 2011. Mined full blocks with no pool using my 5970 GPU. It's like 2 GPUs on one card. I was a gamer at the time, read Reddit all the time, and addicted to games, actually. I blew a decade of my life addicted to games. And just mined a bunch, bought a bunch, and price keeps going up as long as you never sell. If you do sell, you can get chopped out. Like, it's hard. Like, you do the best technical analysis in the world, and then the president of China is like, yo, actually, hey, I'm going to say a lot of really good things about blockchain, including the words invest. Your TA isn't going to predict that. And so the price goes up 40% in a night based on a tweet, or not a tweet, but tweet and news that he said this thing in front of the Congress, the Chinese, party meeting. And it's hilarious. Like, everyone's out there thinking that they could have looked at the chart better, but no, like, it wasn't front run. It wasn't leaked. The price was dying. It couldn't hold support. It broke out of the triangle to the downside. And then boom, 40% up in one day, because a government decision that was made, and well cloaked, and not front run, and there was not much premium on futures, not much premium on options. Nobody front ran it, and it overperformed everyone's expectations. Now, this a guy, Tom Lee, he's on television all the time, very smart guy. He follows me, and it's fun to watch. Like, whenever I go and look at people who are smart, half the time they already follow me. It's like really neat, right? So even though I've got like 53,000 followers, some portion of them is really effective, really smart, captains of industry, which I really love, right? Because would you rather have would you rather Elon Musk follow you, or like 1,000 people you went to high school with? You'd rather Elon Musk follow you, right? Because there's a power law distribution of how useful people are. And some people are super, super useful, and the vast majority of people just aren't, right? And it's not because they suck. It's just because synergy is hard to find unless, you've got lots of money and you're willing to spend it, or you've got an audience, you've got a voice. So the question was, how did I get my start? Serial entrepreneur, retired, traveled the world, volunteered for charity, and it's kind of what I want to get into. So I want to just do medical research because it's the only thing that actually matters. And I tried it before, and it's very, very hard to do. People don't care about what you're talking about. And so what you have to do is you have to give people what they really want, and then pivot them into what you want them to want, right? So you build rapport, and then you mirror and match, and then you lead, and you take them where you want them to go. And so, I wrote a book called Scivive, which you can read it. It's free, t.me/Scivive. It's not totally edited and cleaned up yet, but everything you would want to know is already there in outline format, and you can do the things that are there. If you need the narrative glue for me to convince you and kiss your ass to do what's right for you, Okay, you'll have to wait until the book's actually done, which will be after HEX, this crypto that I built, which is amazing.
Better than Bitcoin, I heard.
Well, it depends on what you want. If you want something that goes up in price higher and faster and should have less downside volatility, it is designed to do that. If you want something that has more liquidity, if you want to be able to trade $100 million off the bat, no new cryptocurrency that's just starting has giant liquidity. It takes time to build that stuff up. If you want to buy stuff on the darknet, nobody's going to accept the new coin yet. That stuff needs to scale up. In my opinion, the best thing cryptocurrency can do is go up in price. And if that's what you really care about, is making the highest ROI that anyone has ever made on anything in the history of mankind, literally, that's what this token is designed to do. It's awesome. Like, I want to save it for last because my audience, who's the primary number of viewers right now are watching, knows a lot of all this stuff already. So I'd love to do all the newest stuff first. So as far as the Bitcoin price goes, I am a good technical analyst, and I told everyone, hey, we should bounce here at 7,600. And I said, hey, okay, that's enough bounce for me at 8,600. And yeah, it went up to 10.6, right? Well, that's nice. Congratulations, right? Like, I'm not currently watching the charts hard and trying to eke out maximum utility there, because it's vastly more better that I spend my time and capital on HEX than it is on trading. So here's the difference, right? If you, let's say you captured that 40% move, all of it, which you didn't. People that say they bought the very bottom and sold the very top are fucking lying, always. If you ever catch someone saying that shit, just discount them and never listen to them again. The probability that they're telling you the truth is near zero. It's extremely, extremely, extremely hard to ever have that happen, and it can only happen by accident. There's no way for you to predict when the liquidation bots are going to be done liquidating people, and how thick the order book is above them that they're liquidating into, and how much hidden bids are there with iceberg orders. You can't know any of that shit. It's not on the chart. It's not, even if you owned an exchange, you don't know what's going on at all the other exchanges. So being able to predict where the actual top is, forget about it. It's not deterministic. There's a bunch of randomness involved in it. And when people claim that they did it, they're just full of shit. So like in at 76, out at 86, I'm cool with that for no effort. Yo, President of China just said blockchain is the best thing ever. They're going to invest in it. Okay, cool. Easy trade, right? A lot of other people, got to stay for longer. But here's the funny thing. Everyone had a giant orgasm, and I love to participate in the giant orgasm because you get follows and you get likes and you feel good. People don't like reality. People don't like realism on Twitter. I lose a shitload of followers every day I tweet truth. A shitload. And eventually you're like, maybe I should stop telling these people the truth because they don't like it. I'm being penalized. My ability to influence the world is being reduced because these motherfuckers want to live in la la land, even though the thing already is like the best thing ever. They want to dream that it can do all types of other shit too. So I'll post stupid shit. Like, it disgusts me how many terrible lie posts I see about Bitcoin, both on the bull and bear narrative. Like, it's going to zero. No, it's not. Oh, it's going to $1 million this year. No, it's not. Right? Yeah. People like Pomp, this guy that tweets all the time, just bullish stupidity, from fucking 20K all the way down to 3, just perma bull. Like, yeah, you guys are down 85%, but fuck, it's going to be great, right? Well, he went on television and he's like, yeah, 50% of my holdings are in Bitcoin at 14K. Well, man, when we got down to 7K, I guess it was just 25% of your holdings then, right? Or like, it's so he goes on TV, he says, hey, if you don't believe in Bitcoin, you don't believe in cryptography. What? Cryptography preceded Bitcoin. The fuck are you talking about? Cryptography creates Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not create cryptography. Don't go and make these false assumption. Fucking it makes everyone look horrible. It's just so stupid. I hate it. But hey, if they just need somebody to put on television, and everyone sucks so bad that go with that guy. I mean, why not? He sells shitcoins in a fund. That's his business. He has a fund of shitcoins, and then it's like, well, I thought you liked Bitcoin, like, but you make money, selling shitcoins. But everyone gives them a pass. And it's just like, I don't know, man. So let's talk about what truth looks like, right? Everyone had a giant orgasm when we went, and one day up 40%. That's fucking awesome. but the price right now is like 9,300, and the price 3 months ago, 4 months ago, was 14,000. So we're having crazy fucking orgasms on some shit that's cost 9,000 that used to be 14,000 a quarter ago.
Yep.
What? Like, I mean, let's be fucking real. Like, the price is still 9. We couldn't even hold 10K, but people fucking forgot 10K was even a thing that you could hold. They're just like, oh, you know, it's hilarious. So similar to how you can boil, I'm not really sure if this is true, but the saying is that you can boil a frog if you turn the heat up slow enough. Apparently, you can just take all of a crypto investor's money if you give them a 40% pump once in a while. So like the shit could keep. And if you look at the way altcoin charts often work, it's a vertical line up and then death for a couple years, and then a vertical line up, and they keep doing that forever, right? Like Dogecoin, Primecoin, XRP, vertical line, death for a couple years, vertical line, right? And it's been posited by another guy who's kind of innovated some technical analysis stuff, but I don't really like his analysis very much. His name's Willy Woo. You know, he came up with this network, NVT, like how many transactions are on the network, and then, okay, what should the price be because of that? Well, that's pretty easy to game, isn't it? Because it doesn't cost anything to send yourself money. It costs you 30 cents. So like if you think that the price of Bitcoin goes up when Google searches go up, it's pretty easy to shit out some Google searches by bot. If you think the price of Bitcoin goes up when on-chain transaction volume goes up, I mean, when Binance moves their cold wallet from one address to another, should that affect the Bitcoin price? But it's a couple $100 billion a fucking on-chain transaction, even $1 billion. Well, no, it shouldn't, right? That's better than nothing. I mean, it's something you can look at. But anyway, so his statement was that Bitcoin should move more like a shitcoin now, because back in the old days, there used to be giant whales, and the number of hands that held the Bitcoin were fewer. And now he posits that because the funds are so large now that we have a similar type of behavior with larger hands holding so much. Now, maybe that's true. We just did go up 40% in a fucking day, which is the second largest green candle we've ever had, which is a little misleading because we're counting it not as a percent, and what percents are what matter. But even if you count it as a percent, I think it might be number 4 or at least top 10 largest move that we've made to the upside. And not because the project got any better, not because the software got any better or anything like that. And so, you know, okay. And now here's another thing. Why did the price pump from 3K to 14K? PlusToken Ponzi bought over, I believe, $4 billion of fiat into Bitcoin and then scammed all their users out of it. So that was the first pump. Now our second pump here, which is, I mean, look, going up 50% in a day is nice, but you can cancel out a 50% up with a 33% down. And people just seem like, oh, crypto, you know, it's just 33% down. We're not even over 10K. Now, look, this could be the start of the bull run. Everything could be fucking fantastic. I'd love to see all that. You know, as Bitcoin becomes more valuable, all of the other cryptos become more valuable. And I really, really want HEX to do amazing and reach real world market adoption that Bitcoin never has. I mean, Bitcoin's got 4 million, 6 million real users with a bunch of people that think they're using it but really aren't. They have accounts on exchange, which is the exact opposite of what it was built for. It's built to get rid of counterparties, get rid of risk. Instead, everyone just leaves their money on the exchange. It's another great thing about HEX is it gives people reason to take control of their money themselves so they can claim their free coins. And now when these stupid exchanges get hacked, a lot less money would get stolen because the users have control of the keys themselves. And I hear people all the time. They're like, yeah, you know, I had my funds in here and I've never taken them out before. So how do I download a wallet? You're like, God damn, this is exactly how crypto is not supposed to work. Like, have you heard of Cryptopia that lost everyone's money, or Quadriga CX that lost everyone's money, or Mt. Gox that lost everyone's money? Do you want me to go down the list? How many fucking times do you want to see everyone's money get lost? Like, stop doing that stupid shit. So that's the other great thing about HEX is it removes counterparty risk. Right now, if you want to get interest on your Bitcoin, you have to send them to someone who may not send them back to you. Otherwise, how the fuck are you going to get interest? Try and buy mining hardware? That shit's always a bad investment. It's always worse to buy mining hardware than coins. Always. So what's left? trustless interest. The same contract that invented the currency will also mint you the rewards for staking it and holding it instead of selling it. And then instead of paying miners who dump the market price to give the electricity company to pollute, you just pay the holders who don't have any externalities. They don't have any electricity bills to pay. And so all the inflation in HEX goes to the holders who get paid to hold the price up instead of paying the miners to dump the price. It's vastly superior. And we're only able to do that because we're piggybacking on a network that is trustless, secure, open source, and more censorship resistant than Bitcoin. If you want to mine the Bitcoin network, fuck yourself. You can't. You just can't. You got a computer? Doesn't matter. Computer doesn't mine Bitcoin network. SHA-256 ASIC mines the Bitcoin network. And you're going to need to spend a couple grand to grab one of those by sending your money to some foreign country, and maybe they send you the machine on time, and maybe it ever turns a profit. But half of the profit that machine could ever make comes in the first week. And if they send it to you 1 week late, it'll forever have lost half the money it could ever possibly make. Because the hash rate, the difficulty to mine, is at all-time highs. But the price is at less than half of all-time highs. So their profitability is fucked. And when their profitability gets fucked, guess what they have to do? Sell every single coin they get to try and keep that little bit left of profit. Or turn all the miners off and throw them in the garbage. Or hope so many other people turn their miners off that they're just efficient enough to turn back on or something.
So there's another who's in that position right now. And some have even made the statement that they're hoping that people would shut off as the difficulty increased and it got harder to be profitable, and that they were projecting their own profitability based on other people shutting off their miners. I mean,
that's a very bad idea.
I agree.
So the problem is, if you live in any country that's not China and doesn't have capital controls, you will never be able to compete with someone that is there, because they have a capital control system which incentivizes ways to work around capital controls, and being able to purchase coins locally with local currency in order to work around that is a huge advantage that you will not have in a country where their money isn't. Right? So the money that needs to be routed around capital controls is in that physical location. And the service that you're providing them is getting that money out of that control system. And so unless you're right next to that money where you need to be in order to receive it, to do the workaround, they're always going to be able to mine it. What appears to be a loss, but it's subsidized by that local desire to get around capital controls. They can only, a Chinese citizen's only allowed to send, I think $10,000 a year out of the country. Period. And that's it. But they want to invest in other shit. So they end up, finding ways to do it. And I think crypto is one of those ways. So yeah, if you live somewhere else in the world and you think those guys are going to turn off when they're not profitable, well, they're going to stay more profitable for longer than you are. They have the cheapest electricity you can get. They have the cheapest labor you can get. They also have the currency controls. You're not going to be able to outcompete them, which is why the vast majority of mining is done there, and lately why the vast majority of crypto purchasing is done there. New projects come online like EOS, and it just becomes all Chinese. All the new Ponzis are Chinese. This last pump we had 40% a day, totally Chinese. Well, it's a really important market.
Richard, speaking of which, do you think there's a significance in the Chinese announcement being made and the lead up to the next Bitcoin block halving?
Do I think there's a significance to the Chinese what?
Announcement. Yesterday's announcement. Or was it?
Yeah, so here's what I think. Well, those are two questions, and I'll answer them both. I believe that people don't understand China because it's hard to understand, because it's unlike most places. The Chinese people are not interested in giving you freedom. They are not interested in giving you more power. They are not interested in giving you control. So if you thought that their blockchain announcement meant that you would get more free and open source, transact however you want software in the world, you are fucking stupid. That is not what they do. They do the opposite of that. They do maximum control. They do censorship of movies. I think 12 Western movies a year is allowed to come out there because it's all the censors approve. Hollywood makes a lot more than 12 movies a year. South Park is 100% banned there. Winnie the Pooh is 100% banned there. The NBA is just had a shitload of their courts shut down because one guy that was on a team said something nice about another country that China's in an argument with. Now you see how I was very light about that? I could have given you more details. I don't want them pissed off at me. Right? No benefit for me to make enemies there. I'm not making enemies there is not making the world a better place. I'll be able to make the world a better place with more adoption than I will by pissing them off. So if you think about, so what they did was they said a lot of nice things about blockchain, and they've done this so many times. They ban and unban, ban and unban, ban and unban. They did that shit to Bitcoin 20 fucking times. I made a GIF about it. I had to manually edit frame by frame a GIF of a roller coaster like this. Ban, price down, unban, price up. Ban, price down, unban, price up. It's like a fucking joke over there. Like hilarious. This is the country that literally just banned ICOs entirely and just banned crypto exchanges. Like, I was just on a panel with Bobby Lee, who founded, BTCC, which was an exchange in China. I believe that's which exchange it was. And, he just had to shut the fuck off. It was just like, yeah, off. You can't sell people crypto anymore. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the country that just said all those nice things about Bitcoin is also one of the very rare countries in the world that just straight out fucking banned it. You can't exchange it. You can still mine it. You can still send it to people if you want. But they could, anytime they want, just write another letter that's like, yo, we're just banning it the rest of the way. Which segues into what I'm saying about their policy of fucking with you. So they said a bunch of nice stuff in it. The word Bitcoin was never mentioned. So Bitcoin price pumped, crypto pumped, that's great. But they didn't say a fucking thing about open source crypto. They said, we like blockchain, not Bitcoin, right? They didn't use the word not, but they fucking know it exists, and they sure didn't mention it. And then they said they're making their own crypto called Blockchain Plus. And then I've seen other reports of how party members could put their material on that blockchain. And they're doing a digital yuan, and they're doing tests with Alipay and Tencent. And apparently whichever one works out better, because they want to be the leader in digital currency, because they feel it could be gigantic, just like Facebook feels it could be gigantic. So Facebook is pitching Congress, hey, if you don't let us do it, China will do it. And China's like, oh shit, that's a good idea. They know how to take good ideas. So they're like, yo, let's do that first, right? Now, do you think that there's going to be censorship free? Are you retarded? It's going to be the opposite. So they passed another law that comes out in January. Right now, only draft is out, and it controls all of crypto. And when I say all of crypto, I mean encryption, all of it. How do you store private keys? Who has access to the private keys? And that basically means they can decide how blocks are propagated, how blocks are mined by law. So they have a law on the draft books, which I've linked to, and Richard's calls, t.me/Richard's calls, and t.me/Strape, our general crypto chat, where bull shaming Dan is always in there beating up the bulls for some reason. Cost me followers, but I like Dan, so I let it happen. And then Strape charts, where Dan's not an admin, and the refugees go. t.me/Strape charts. All of those places have a link to the English translation of the new law, which should come out in January, that controls all of crypto and basically means that they can shut off miners whenever they want, or tell them how to decide on a fork, or just basically ruin crypto, basically. Now, do I tell anyone on Twitter about that? Fuck no. Why? Don't feel like losing followers for telling you guys good information because you're a bunch of pussy snowflake faggots. Figure it out on your own. Every time I post something important like this, I make another post on Twitter. You might want to join my Telegram chats because I say things there I don't say on Twitter, right? Because it's the best middle ground, right? So my theory is the reason that people unfollow you when you tell them the truth is because they only want the price to go up. And they figure the truth might make the price go down. And so if no one ever hears about you speaking the truth, if only they hear you, then, it'll help the price stay up, which is pretty fucking lol. But on Telegram, they don't seem to do the unfollowing shit. It feels more private to them, right? It doesn't feel like the bad news might get into the world. So I joined this. As much as I hate it, every once in a while, I'll just post something vacuous and stupid and retarded to get some likes, because that's what people like, right? So I'm like, hey, what if China, it makes Bitcoin its national currency? Bunch of likes, right? Totally impossible. Like Bitcoin, Bitcoin only, I'm not going to ruin the trivia question I have on Twitter right now where I tell you how many transactions a second Bitcoin can do, because I want you guys to guess, and I think it the question, the poll expires in maybe 12 hours. Bitcoin has only ever done about 300,000 transactions a day total ever. That's not enough and that's when blocks were full, right? You couldn't even run a video game on it. A single video game. You couldn't run Fortnite's economy on it. You couldn't run Clash of Clans economy on it. You couldn't run World of Warcraft's economy on it. You couldn't even run a single video game's economy on Bitcoin, period. Is it because the software sucks? No, the software is good. It's because physics sucks, okay? The speed of light is only so fast, and we care about transaction ordering because like everything these days scales parallel. Do you get faster cores? Nope. Your Sandy Bridge i5 2500K or 2600K, it ran 5 gigahertz on air. Now all your chips, you have more cores that increase the power density, which creates more dark silicon, which means that you just can't use the silicon you have because you run into thermal issues. And now your max core speeds are like 4.4 on boost, 3.2 minimum. And so now you have more cores that suck. Now they don't really suck. They have IPC improvements of maybe 3 to 5% per iteration. And we did have a big, upgrade with these new AMD chips that came out. But my point is that the world is not good at all at making a single thing faster. It is good at just doing a shitload more of something else slowly. And only a certain subset of problems scales embarrassingly parallel, is one term for it, or parallel at all. And so blockchains, they don't scale parallel because you have to make sure people didn't double spend their money. And so if two merchants receive a guy's money at the same time, you must verify that one guy goes before the other so that if that guy spent there, he can't spend there. So it has to be serialized. And so mining is how we timestamp. And timestamp is how we prevent double spend. And because of that serialization and because of the speed of light, we have a fucking very hard restriction on how much throughput a blockchain can have. Period. Because of physics, right? Now you can do security trade-offs, and there's tricks that you can use to try and get around that, but they are tricks and they are trade-offs, right? Like we're going to use the Lightning Network. Okay, cool. But there's trade-offs. That shit's not free, right? And there's a reason there's only $6 million in the Lightning Network now, and they've had critical vulnerabilities and they've lost people's money. And yes, I hope it all works out. And because if it works for Bitcoin, it works for everything, right? That's one nice thing about crypto is that, when Bitcoin guys made bulletproofs, Monero implemented them. When Bitcoin guys made SegWit, Litecoin implemented it. When Bitcoin guys made confidential transactions, a crypto said they would implement it and that didn't fucking do anything, so I won't advertise for them. And so, we've got implementations of Lightning on Ethereum, such as Plasma, State Channels, Raiden, and others. And it's good, right? So I like that tool to be developed, and I'd like it to work all kinds of places. And I think it's totally fair to trade less security for more throughput if that's what you want to do. That's what EOS does. That's what centralized blockchains do, right? They're fast, they're cheap, and they're less censorship resistant. I think people should be allowed to make that trade if they wish. I don't even remember the fucking question, by the way. What was the question? Oh yes, the question was two parts. It was one, okay, how do you feel about the Chinese statement? One, we love blockchain. Two, we're going to control it and pervert it until it's something you don't like anymore, is what's really going to happen. But I can't tell Twitter that, right?
Yeah.
And yes, they unbanned it now, but I guarantee you they're going to say some negative shit that's going to fuck up the price within the next few months. Yep. Maybe this law will become more popular. Maybe they'll further cripple, miners. Maybe they just literally, the power companies were like, yo, you're just not even going to be able to mine anymore. We're just going to turn all the miners off because we think this is a waste of electricity. That shit's come out like several times. Like they really do shut miners off in certain jurisdictions. They're just like, yo, fucking shut them down. So it's precipitous. Yeah, I think that's the right word. It means like dangerous, like hanging on a cliff or some shit. If it's not, I mean that word. Precarious. It's precarious. I used the wrong word up there in the front. So the second part of the question was, what about the halvening? People have always, the halvening has always pumped. It's never not done a bull market just before the halvening that I can remember. And it's only happened a few times. We started at 50 blocks per 50 BTC block reward per block, which is every 10 minutes.
Yep.
Usually faster, but 10 minutes is close enough. And then it went to 25, and then it went to 12.5, which is where it is now. And in about a year, it's going to go to 6.25. It should, as long as the miners aren't assholes. It should. The miners could be assholes and just be like, you know what? We're not going to let that happen. And that little line of code that says like cut in half, we're just going to remove that. We're just going to keep our reward where it's at. They could do that. Nothing's stopping them. That's how the network gets improved. The same way that you improve the network by implementing code which makes it better is the same way that you fuck the network up. It's the same process. And there's absolutely nothing you can do to prevent it. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Blockchains are socially enforced consensus networks. And the society must be diligent politically, or the shit can and will get worse. Period. So I think, yeah, I mean, probably they just leave it how it is. I don't know, maybe them fucking around with the their pay is maybe like a 5% chance, maybe. Just throwing some number out of my butt. But it's a chance, you know. Yeah, so there's your two answers to those questions. Halvening, yeah, the price should keep going up because why not? There's barely anyone uses this shit. It's obviously useful. We already dropped 85%, you know, not that long ago. So we could just keep doing bull run forevermore from now. We could do some shitcoin, you know, pump and then die for a while thing. We could range sideways. Like the fact that China's in control of the market price now is just fuck the charts. Because the charts used to kind of do a certain thing. And now it's really like, is there a Ponzi in China just buying everything right now? Is the guy that owns 1% of Bitcoin, the PlusToken Ponzi guy, he has 20% as many coins as Satoshi himself has? Is he dumping his coins now? I don't know. I don't feel like doing the chain analysis to figure it out. I know he laundered like 30,000 of them trying to use them through CoinJoin, through Wasabi and other places. I don't know. And I don't really want to know. And it kind of sucks that that's what the game is now. You know, when is a Chinese dude going to tweet? When is the counter tweet coming? When is the Ponzi going to get shut down? That's the game with price now? That kind of sucks, you know? So, yeah, I think every technical analyst that was good should understand that they're vastly less good now, because the game is more of a fundamental understanding and a fundamental analysis game today because of China, because of the giant wall language barrier between China and the West, that we're just not qualified to predict price direction as we once were. Because, you know, the president of China don't give a fuck about TA, and he can make the price do whatever he wants. Trump tweeted against Bitcoin, price went up 10%. Xi Jinping tweeted for Bitcoin, price went up 50%. That's where we're at. That's the reality.
But do you think that the timing of the announcement was coincidental or significant? No. Do you think they went up until the block halving to make the announcement?
No.
Or is it just...
They don't give a fuck about any of that shit. They have government party meetings about things that matter. And if you read the actual translation of what was said in that meeting, they are focused on social effectiveness, social cohesion, group prosperity, world dominance, and, you know, global impact. That's what they're focused on. And to them, blockchain is just a means to that end, right? It's just a new place for them to try and compete and get share, right? They don't give a fuck about the halvening. They're building their own crypto, bro. It's just like, okay, for years I told everyone, Facebook is not going to use Bitcoin. They build their own server hardware from scratch. They build their own languages from scratch. They build their own software from scratch. They build everything from fucking scratch. They will build their own crypto. They're not buying yours. And the same goes for Amazon. They build their own servers. They build like fucking, they're not fucking using your coin. They're not buying it. They're building their own just like they did for every other fucking thing. Period. Said that shit for years. And then it came true. Because I get a lot of shit right. And do you think China is going to buy your shit coin? They're not. They're not. They're building their own. Period. Now, because markets are fucking stupid, everyone says, hey, we're going to invest in blockchain. Not Bitcoin, but blockchain. So Bitcoin price goes up 50%. And I don't mind it. I know that's the game. So I'm like, cool, fucking long it. Great. By the way, if you want to margin trade, you probably lose all your money. But if you're going to do that shit anyway, do it someplace nice, like richardhart.win. 100x, you can trade EOS, you can trade XRP, you can trade Bitcoin, you can trade Ethereum. They're all perpetual. You don't have to worry about expirations. And if you want to switch from one coin to another, they've got a coin swap thing that lets you do that. And then you don't have to do this stupid, like, I want to hedge my Ethereum, but I have to do it with Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin to Ethereum ratio always fucks my hedge up. So sometimes I'm overhedged and sometimes I'm underhedged because it's a quanto derivative. Fuck that. Just use the coin swap thing. Get into the thing you want to hedge and makes your life a lot fucking easier. And they never went down and they never had any problems like everyone else did on this pump. Most of the exchanges had huge problems where everything stopped working on this 50% a day pump. richardhart.win did not. Get off of shitmex. Get off of Deribit. Their shit was busted too. Get onto the new richardhart.win. Or stop trading and fucking save your money and don't get wrecked before HEX comes out. And that's even better. But like, if you hedge and you just 1x hedge your stack, you're not really taking a risk, right? Like you're taking the small counterparty risk that the exchange could fail, but you're using margin to like reduce that penalty anyway, because you're not sending your whole stack there, you're just sending a portion of it. As long as you update, as long as you look at the chart often enough to notice 100% move against you, then you only need to have like half your stack there, because you will never get liquidated unless if you put half your stack there, the price would have to double in order to liquidate you. If you put a quarter of your stack there, the price would have to 4x to liquidate you if you're just defending your fiat value, right? So you take your stack, you short the value of that stack, and then you don't have to take the money into your bank account. As the price of the crypto goes down, you get more coins to make up for it. And as long as none of these fucking things go to zero, that works fine. In theory, if one of them goes to zero, you're going to get a lot of zero back on your trade, right? Because they're settled in crypto. The numeraire is in crypto. Give you guys some words to Google: numeraire and precarious. I need to Google precipitous when we get off the. I mean, to me, precipitous sounds like it makes something happen, like when it rains, it's precipitation. So I would imagine that they're related.
Small little points of things gathering enough critical mass to then cause an event precipitous.
Okay, if you say so.
So you've said already a number of things tonight that would make a Bitcoin maximalist blanch white. I gather you're not a
fuck those guys. Fuck them. Absolutely 100% fuck them. Hey, Bitcoin maximalists, now I said this was going to be a chill stream. See, for Richard, chilling is just like not chilling. It's an interesting corundum. Google corundum. Yeah, like I care about virtue and I care about ends, and I care about the means to those ends. And so let's take a guy like Roger Ver. Roger Ver used to be Bitcoin Jesus. Then he became Bitcoin Judas. Why? Because he demonizes and says bad shit about Bitcoin all the time because he thinks it will pump his bags of BCH that he all-ined. Now, maybe he didn't all-in them, maybe only 80% all-in them. He still holds some Dash and some Bitcoin and such, and he still has Bitcoin.com and all that stuff. Do I agree with his end goal of free, peer-to-peer, affordable value transaction for humans and getting rid of shitty middlemen and getting rid of government control structures that make the world worse? I 100% agree with all that. I agree with his ends. I do not agree with his means. I don't like using the brand to sell something that's not the thing, right? I don't like, hey, here's real Bitcoin, but it's not real Bitcoin. Ours is the real Bitcoin. Buy this instead and get wrecked as the price goes down 95% over 1 year. That sucks dick. That's not good. That's bad. That's evil. That's shitty. So his desires in the end are good, and I agree with him. But because he all in the wrong fucking bag, now he's doing a bunch of shit that's not good. Hopefully he stops one day. It puts me in a weird position because, to one degree, I don't want to reward people that do shit like that. But to the other degree, I can liberate some of his users if we team up and work together, right? And show them a better path, right? So if you have Bitcoin, you can claim free HEX. I know he's got Bitcoin. I know his users have got Bitcoin. So my gut tells me it would probably be smart to, work with him and put people into a better thing, which would be HEX. I think that would be smarter than try and be the global world enforcer of, oh, I'm going to punish you for this other thing you did. But in reality, I'm really fucking myself too, and all the people we could have helped, because I'm trying to make some moral point. I don't think that it's beneficial to the world for me to go that direction. I think it's probably better that I actually work with them, which is just, it's fucking weird to me. It's like, because when you're rich for so long, you have fuck you money. You just don't usually have to do shit you don't want to do. And so if I see someone that's doing some type of shit that's a little shady, I just don't want to work with them. But he's such a player in this industry that I feel, maybe I'll be able to convince him even to unshadify, perhaps. I think his bags of BCH are so heavy, it's not going to be possible. But who knows, right? I can try. My only fear in that situation is I just don't want him to claim and dump, right? If people claim, I want them to claim and hold and participate and help everything be better. And I want to get rid of everyone that isn't useful in that way, right? And I think statistically he could be very useful. So,
well, I see that most of the more profitable pathways in HEX are set up with long-term staking. So that kind of
sure. Yeah, this whole game theory here is if I show you a crypto that's got 2 audits when the vast majority of other coins have none, including Bitcoin and others, and you've got world's first things, like it's the world's first blockchain CD. How come no one else has done a CD? CDs have $7.2 trillion of money on them in the US and China alone. Probably over 10 or 20 trillion globally. How many trillions do you want before you realize people really like this shit and no one else is doing it, right? And so in Bitcoin, you don't know when is a good time to sell. But in HEX, you will, because you know when everyone else's coins are coming out of stake. And so you can time your stake to end when other people's aren't. And then you have less price volatility downside because everyone already knows what the future looks like. You should also have less retarded wicks both directions because you see what the future looks like. There's no other currency and there's no other crypto where you know what the future looks like because people are locked for a certain time. Masternodes don't have it. You end whenever the fuck you want. Staking normally doesn't have it. You just end whenever you want. And then you don't have any type of future knowledge, right? So we're the first product to give you that type of future knowledge, which directly affects the price. 2 security audits, cheaper transactions, no negative externalities from the miners. We pay them a couple pennies once a year, maybe, per user, maybe, right? It's just so fucking good. And it has a referral program. It has the unit bias fixed. It's got hardware wallet support off the bat, Ledger and Trezor on both the Bitcoin side and the HEX Ethereum side. Like, just endlessly amounts of good shit. It also has the margin to allow you to onboard new users with ads. So back in the ICO craze, a lot of new users were introduced to crypto because they saw ads on Facebook, and they saw ads on Instagram, and they saw those ads because the companies that were selling them the scams had margin in order to recycle the money they got from the users back into more ads. The referral program in HEX allows that. As a matter of fact, I just came up with an interesting idea 2 days ago, which didn't occur to me before, which is funny because I've made millions of dollars on affiliate programs. If you want to get the maximum amount of money as a referrer from your users that you send to HEX, I figured a way to double your income. Now, I'm not sure it's the best for them, the end user, but it might be. So you have to do the math. If you refer someone to just free claim their HEX, as a referrer, you get 20% of everything they got. And they get a 10% bonus for using your link, and they get a speed bonus. So they claim the first day, they get 20%, right? So you end up getting a lot, right? So their base claim is like 10,000 HEX per Bitcoin. Then they get, up to 12,000 first day claim for speed. Then they get a 10% bonus for using your link. And then it ends up, the whole system is going to end up creating 18,400 coins or more just to handle the referrer, even though the base was 10,000. Now, what if you wanted to make more? You get them to free claim. They use their Bitcoin to do a signature in their wallet. They just copy paste the thing to sign, click sign, copy paste the signature back to the HEX wallet, hit claim. You have a couple pennies of Ethereum to, pay for the transaction or mine it yourself, which is a little harder. And then now you've got HEX, right? 90% of it auto stakes for 350 days, 10% of it goes right into your wallet, do whatever you want. And the referrer gets his 20%, free and clear right there. Now he can say, hey, you know what? You want to get more HEX? That Bitcoin that you held for the snapshot that you free claimed with, sell that for Ethereum, put that into the adoption amplifier, and then there's a bucket of 1 billion HEX that gets given out the first day, and then there's an empty bucket people put Ethereum into. And if you're 10% of the Ethereum bucket, you get 10% of the HEX. And then the bucket's empty out at the end of the day. Next day, new set of buckets. About 500 million coins on the HEX side, and the ETH bucket starts out empty. And then you basically took that guy's economic energy and made 20% on top of him when he got in for free claiming, and he got a 10% bonus for doing it. And then you took that same economic energy and you converted it into ETH and you sent it to the adoption amplifier, and you got paid 20% on that too. And so the same user that has a finite amount of economic energy, you could actually round trip twice and get basically 40% of his economic energy. But it doesn't cost him anything. He gets a bonus both times for doing it. And he would be worse off if he didn't use a referral link. He wouldn't get a 10% bonus on the free claim. He wouldn't get a 10% bonus on the adoption amplifier, transform ETH into HEX. So I think that's fucking really cool. Like, what referral program in crypto or anywhere on the planet gives you a 40% payout of the economic energy into the system? None. Like, fucking nobody. Not online casino, not nothing. Ain't nobody giving you 40%. That's a pretty huge chunk. I just thought of that a couple days ago. It's crazy. Like, there's so many things going on in this system that are so awesome that I just keep finding new things. I'm just like, oh shit. I'll give you another one. I fucked up yesterday on my last live stream. I told everybody that they were stupid if they staked longer than 3,641 days, because that's when the cap for longer pays better caps out. And then I thought about it for a while, and I was like, nope, I think I was wrong, actually. The price system makes it so that it does make sense to stake longer, because there's a share price and it only goes up. Anytime someone ends a stake, it looks at how much profit they made as a ratio. How much did you put in? How much did you get out? And if it's the highest profit anyone's ever seen, that gets set as the price. And then if they go to get in, they can never get more shares, ever. So if you're the guy that set the highest price and then you go to get back in, you get the same amount of shares. You didn't do any better. You would have done better just staking longer, because you end stake, you lose a day. Or you can't, the next day doesn't count because it only counts full days. And so because the day that you ended stake, you can't obviously instantly restake before that day started to get that full day. So you lose a day every time you end stake, basically. And what's the likelihood that someone else moved the price higher before you could do your restake? Well, unless you're the world's biggest whale, probably pretty good, right? So because the price system operates in that way, you're going to get like totally wrecked and have a shitload less shares after you end your stake. And so it's actually very beneficial, even if the bonus ends at 3641 days, to stake longer anyway, so that you just have more shares for all those other days, or you're going to have a lot less shares when you end up restaking. So it's just funny that I designed the system and I promoted it for a year or two, And even I still occasionally fuck up. Like, because I was very confident when I said that. I was like, yeah, you're stupid if you do that. And then I was like, oh, actually, I think the math works out that you'd actually be pretty smart to do that. So I felt I almost never fuck up in that way. This was the first fuck up like that I've had in a year that I can think of.
Tell us a bit about the name. How did you come up with the name? What's the story behind the name?
Oh, the bullshit story, which I would try and popularize, is that there's 6 things we care about, and they're these 6 things: trustless, immutable, list of other stuff. It's on the FAQ. The real thing is that I looked up every available domain name that had the word Bitcoin in it, and they're all taken, and they all suck. And then there were some that were expired that I found, and one of them was so I've got like Bitcoin Tiny, and I've got other things like Bitcoin Yan, which just sucks, but I have it anyway. I don't know why. And so I also had Bitcoin Hex, and I just looked at the list of domains that I controlled, and I was like, yeah, that's the best one. And so I chose the Bitcoin Hex one. But I always knew that I didn't want Bitcoin in the name. You always want to brand uniquely. I don't want, when I market for Hex, I don't want to pump Bitcoin's bags. I want to pump Hex's bags. So there's no reason for me to mention Bitcoin. I do it during this first year because we're giving free coins only to Bitcoin holders. I'll do it for that first year, but I'm not interested in doing it after that. And I'm like, their 2 projects have nothing to do with each other. There is no Bitcoin code in Hex, period. It is not a fork. It is not an airdrop. For it to be a fork, there would need to be some Bitcoin code. There is none. For it to be an airdrop, someone else would have to have it and be able to give it to you. It doesn't work that way. In this system, only you can make your own coins. When you go to end your stake and mint your reward, only you can mint your reward. Only you have your private key. No one else in the world can do it for you. That's really important because that means we're not a security, right? All of the work is being done by you. You're doing it. You're making your own coins, right? Just like Bitcoin miners. When a Bitcoin miner gets paid his 12.5 Bitcoin block reward, you know where it came from? He made it himself. He did computation that met the rules of the network that allowed him to make his own reward. And Hex works the exact same way. You do your own computation, you mint your own reward, and that's it.
What is the provenance of the code base? Is that all self-developed in-house?
We started out with Open Zeppelin 2.0's implementation of the ERC20 standard, which has been used by multiple billion-dollar projects. And it's audited by a company called Level K. And they do pretty good work. They also, I like people that have found bugs before, and then I know that they can find bugs and that they do good work. So Level K audited the Open Zeppelin ERC20 implementation, which we've actually improved some parts of, and I'm deciding whether we should roll that back in to them as a nicety, because like we solved pre-image attacks against the Merkle tree builder that they use, and we do it better than they do it. So maybe for just marketing purposes and general niceness and improving the ecosystem, we'll pass those upgrades upstream. But we have to abstract them a little bit and add some notes that, you have to do these things right in order for this to work this way, which is, we're not going to delay Hex's launch to do that. So Hex is going to launch first, and then we may do those things. My devs are expensive, so I have to decide whether I'd rather buy ads or, make open source ecosystem better. So that was our base. And a lot of people use a package called Safe Math, which we chose not to use. We believe it only catches a small subset of bugs that are easily caught other ways. Like we transpiled our Solidity contract into C++, and now all of the awesome tools that exist for C++, like safe types and other things, allow us to troubleshoot the work that we've done in ways that are superior to what the ecosystem of Ethereum offers, right? So the tools that you have to make good Solidity code are inferior to the tools that you have to make good C++ code, because C++ is, 30, 40 years old, something like that. And it's a great language, and it's what Bitcoin's written in, I might add. So after we started with that base of the ERC20, we had to add all of our custom functions on top of that. So base functions that remain are send, receive, allocate, things like that, burn. And then things that we added are open stake, start stake, end stake, good accounting, which lets you like end someone else's stake for them, kind of. So if someone's stake is expired and they don't end it, they get a penalty of 1% per week. Why? Because while your stake's open, you're diluting the payments to everyone else, and you opened it. And so now you need to end it. And you've got a 2-week grace period to end it. And if you don't, you start bleeding out, right? So that's the game theory that pays people to keep the network non-stale, right? So we have a good network state. Someone has to pay to update the network to what the good state is. And then if some nice person, anyone in the world, can run the good accounting function for you, if they don't want you to bleed out, and then it updates the system state, pulls your expired shares out, and stops you from bleeding. But now there's interesting game theory there. I don't plan to run that good accounting function for anyone. If you fuck up and you start bleeding out, well, the recipients of your bleeding are in large part the other stakers. And so they don't mind receiving your money when you screw up, right? So if you end your stake early, you pay a big penalty to the stakers. If you end your stake late, you pay a big penalty to the stakers. That's a design feature. That's not a bug, right? It makes sure that the system state is good and that you hold as long as you said you would. And it's also a profit center for the stakers. The stakers only have, after the claim phase is over, where there's tons of bonuses out the ass, just 1 million bonuses, right? So on day 353, we pay all the unclaimed coins, plus all the late penalties, plus all the whale penalties, plus multiplying all that by adoption bonuses. So it can be up to 3x higher. Plus we pay the interest. That's on day 353. After day 353, most of all that cool shit disappears. And then the system's extremely simple. There's at maximum 3.69% inflation a year. It's less than Bitcoin's ever been. In the 10 years Bitcoin has existed, it has never been that low, ever. It used to be thousands of percent annualized. So what are the 3 inputs that derive profit and value to the stakers? Inflation of the currency. We pay stakers instead of miners. And the late and early, the share of late and early end stakes. And that's it. So after the first year, that's all of the revenue. During the first year.
That's interesting, though, is you put that, I assume, have some responsibility. You at least rubber stamped it. You approved that function to go in there, even though you would personally never use it.
The good accounting feature? Well, look, if you go to jail, your family should be able to prevent you from being penalized. I think it's important that someone be able to save you. However, if no one saves you, you'll just bleed out all your money to everybody else, and they probably like that, right? So it's like, I don't know how. So it's very important that this system operates without any intervention or effort on my part whatsoever. So for instance, when you send Ethereum to the adoption amplifier, there's a disclaimer that says you should expect absolutely nothing from this. Nothing. You expect absolutely no benefit from doing this, because if people send money to a thing and they do it with the expectation of profit solely from the work of others, well, that gets into an area which could be considered security, which we have no interest in, right? So you're not going to receive any entrepreneurial effort. You're not going to receive any benefits. If people ask me, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to buy ads? I'm not telling you. Don't expect it. Are you going to do this? I can't tell you. Go read the Howey test. The Howey test says, if I start promising you shit, this could be a security, and that's not cool, right? So, I go out of my way to make sure, because look, man, promises are really easy and really cheap to make. And that's what every scammer in the world does. Every scammer in the world makes you maximum promises and takes the maximum value they can from you, and then fucking runs away. Right. So I am forced to do the opposite of that. Where it would be very easy for me to make you big promises, I'm forced to promise you nothing. Literally, which kind of sucks because, I spent a lot of time on this. Mm-hmm. Am I going to just stop? Why would I do that, right? But I have to promise you absolutely nothing and give you no expectations so that it's not a security. And you're doing all the work. Only you're creating the coins, only you're paying your own rewards. It's all about you. That shit ain't got nothing to do with us. It's a blockchain. It sits there. It's code. You can run it if you want or not. The code just sits there.
I mean, listen, there's two things that buys you. I mean, number one, right, not a security. The regulators stay at bay. Don't even look over here. But in terms of people even casually pointing a finger and saying scam, no, brother, you can't do that because nothing was promised to anybody.
Well, here's the thing about scam, right? Most people, when they say scam, they don't. Here's what we've got. We've got scams, we've got Ponzis, we've got pyramids, and we've got bubbles, and they're different. A bubble is when somebody decided something was not worth much, and then they decided it was worth a lot, and then they decided it wasn't worth much anymore. That's a bubble, right? Bitcoin's done negative 85% like 3 times, at least. Now, what's a Ponzi? Ponzi is you make promises you can't possibly make, fraudulent promises, and then you can't steal from Peter to pay Paul anymore, and now you run out of money and you do your exit scam, right? That's a Ponzi. What's a pyramid? Pyramid is, here's a product or service, here's an end user, let's shove as many useless middlemen in the middle as we possibly can, which inflates the price for the end user, which is a shitty system. It's inefficient. So that's a pyramid, that's Ponzi. Now, what's a scam? Scam, I think, usually would be considered more of the fraud style. We make lots of promises that aren't true, and then you get screwed. I think that's how scams work. Now, people fuck up and call a lot of bad business ideas scams. But most business ideas are bad, and most people that try them as hard as they really can just fail because life is hard and business is hard. So a lot of shit that gets started and fails isn't actually a scam. Like if the restaurant, which has the highest failure rate of any business startup possible, that opens up down the street from you, stops existing and goes out of business, that's because life is hard. That is not because it was a fucking scam, right? And I think a lot of cryptocurrencies are the same way. Now, ICOs probably lean a lot more towards scam, maximum promises, minimum actually doing shit, right? HEX launch is complete, functioning, done. We're not promising you to do shit. We promise you nothing. It already works. There it is. Use it if you want. Or not. Fuck off. Or whatever, right? So I think a lot of coins get called scams that aren't, right? Like, is Litecoin a scam? I don't think so. It's a fork of Bitcoin that changed the proof of work. And good for them. What if Bitcoin's proof of work fucks up somehow? We need alternate proofs of work, right? I have a bag of Prime Coin, which also is a fork of Bitcoin that has an alternate proof of work. That shit got wrecked. But is it a scam? No, the price just got fucking wrecked. But that's not because anyone like scammed, right? Amazon's price went down 95%. Now it's half of all internet sales in the United States. Was it a scam? No, it was a bubble, right? So it would be kind of cool if there was some nuance and detail and resolution added to when people call everything a goddamn scam and they just use different words like, it's overpriced. Yeah, they can do that and it's cool, but it should be worth like, $100,000 total. It shouldn't be worth like $1 billion.
They were nitwits and had no business doing what they did. Okay, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I mean, right.
80%, I think, is the number that you always hear. Small businesses fail within the first year. So why people should think that wouldn't apply to crypto projects has always escaped me.
Yeah, and then the counterpoint is that I think crypto just attracts scumbags. So
there's a lot of desperados in the industry, that's for sure. A lot of desperate people.
Hey, so you got green skin going, nice.
Finally, I've got it fixed.
Yeah.
Finally.
What I'm thinking, so it takes me, for some reason it's weird, like when you watch an Elon Musk interview or like a me interview, we do a lot of the same shit. And I think he's way smarter than me, so I'm not trying to act like I'm as smart as Elon. We access different parts of our brain by looking around to different locations, which is like an NLP thing, and it's also a therapy thing, EDR, eye direction therapy, or EDT or whatever. And then I also can't look at you, right? So if I look at you, I start figuring you out and I'm focused on you. But when I'm thinking about ideas, I'll just look everywhere that's not you, right? So like I just noticed your green screen was up because I'm generating on the fly deep thoughts that are coming out now. And then I don't think that you can do that if you're staring into someone else's eyes. Like it's just, I think it fucks up that process. So a lot of the time I don't look at who I'm talking to, and they misunderstand it as like disrespect sometimes. And it's like, no, I'm respecting your question. I could do the other thing and just stare at you, but you want me to generate good thoughts? Okay, well then I do this look in other places stuff.
Well, quite a while ago, I remember I was hollering at the TV about how rude this guy was being, and he wasn't looking at the person in the room interviewing with him, and it had to be pointed out to me that the guy was blind.
Ah, shit. I had that happen to me once. A guy crossed the fucking street right in front of my car, and I almost hit him. My van. I was fixing air conditioners at the time. And I yelled at him. I'm like, what, are you fucking blind? And he raised his cane and yelled at me with the white cane with the red line at the fucking end. And I was like, this is impossible. Like, at first, I don't remember like ever even using that phrase before in my life. like I don't use that phrase, right? And then I've never seen a blind guy just walking around next to the fucking highway here that I'm about to enter, like a 4-lane fucking, so weird, like surreal, you know? It's like you'll drop a coin and it'll land on its edge and you're like, wow, that's not supposed to happen. I've researched that actually it happens about once every 1,000 times if it's a nickel. Ah, fuck. I think it's a nickel they used. It's in my book. It's in the t.me/sci-vive book. The research is in there.
So, Richard, there was an interview you had done some time ago. I can't remember who it was with, but I remember a part of it where you were saying something like, I'm being nice to you now because later I'm going to fuck you up. Was that Roger Ver?
I don't think so. I was really respectful and nice to Roger, and I'd be really respectful and nice to him now. Like, I think being a prick to people is fun, and, you know, we'd like to do what we're good at, but you have to think about what's your goal, right? Do you want to stun on people and just look cool? Okay, you know, that's all right. I've only done that on stream once. And I told the guy, so because I was so respectful to Roger, I ate a lot of shit from people because they wanted me to go harder because they know I can. So then I had this other dude on and I'm like, listen, I'm going to go a little bit harder on you because of the shit I got, the feedback I got from audience from these guys. I was like, okay. So then I just annihilated on them. Like, I guess the other time is like my anti-IOTA vid, I think is pretty legendary as well. So I would mention by name the first one, but I don't want to promote him for no reason currently.
Was there any aftermath from that or not?
Well, I mean, look, crypto aftermath is comedic. I mean, these are just a bunch of dudes in basements staring at keyboards, haven't seen the sun in a long time. Not really like that big of a threat so much, you know? I would be much more worried as a high school kid with another kid that wasn't getting laid in my class. That's a much larger threat. He's more likely to light your ass up with an AK-47 than anyone in crypto. The actual amount of violence in crypto is quite low, which I'm happy about. You know, otherwise people like Vitalik wouldn't be able to just go all over the fucking world and talk and write code and try and get shit done, you know? People, you know, I say some things which are outrageous, not because I want them to be. I don't do that. I could easily just make strong, outrageous statements and try and gain notoriety from conflict, right? Like I could just go and like shit talk nearly every crypto. Just be like, hey, here's everything wrong with this crypto. I don't do it. It's like, how do we get on this topic? We were talking about speaking strongly and then thrashing on people. And then what's your goal?
Oh yeah, if there was an aftermath to the...
Oh yeah, the aftermath thing.
Where you told that person, you know, I'm being nice to you.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. So one of the outrageous things I'll say, it's not outrageous to me. It just appears outrageous to people that are brainwashed. I think Satoshi is either a bitch and a coward who needs a slap in the face, or he's dead. That's the only two options, okay? I've been on television defending his bags, his million fucking Bitcoin bag that he stealth mined before anyone else could get in, okay? He could have fucking, mined it later. He could have burnt the coins. He could have fucking, waited for some critical mass of people, right? He stealth mined that shit and got a fucking million Bitcoin bag, right? Okay, cool, fine, whatever. I don't mind. Look, every coin is stealth mined to some degree, right? Because few people know about it, and then lots of people know about it. And since the ratio of few to lots always exists, it always looks like somebody got unfairly paid in the beginning, right? So be it. I'm out there trying to prevent people from stealing the brand. He is not. I'm out there saying, what a good idea for a Bitcoin improvement proposal might be, and what type of things should be added to help Bitcoin gain market share. Like I said, we need to be able to add ticker symbols to Bitcoin because that's where all of the money in Ethereum is coming from. Everyone just makes tickers and sticks on there, and then they're the on-ramp, right? So let's take HEX. HEX, HEX, amazing ticker symbol. Can't misspell it. Amazing imagery. You like Lambos? Go look at a Lambo. All hexagons. You look at any new science fiction thing? Hexagons. It's fucking great. Like everywhere I look, there's just hexagons everywhere now. So you're going to see them all over the place. So you can't misspell it. Very easy to say. Very close to sex. Even Elon knows that, right? Model 3, Model S, Model X. He wanted to spell sex, and the 3 is just backwards, right? Comes from the guy that has like ludicrous mode on his car, and now has like a plaid mode and other things, right? Like, funny, nerdy stuff. If you watch Spaceballs, the movie. So why did we launch on there? Well, because one, we need to do all this cool game theory stuff that we need actual computation to do, and that's the most secure platform to do it. They've never had an inflation bug. Bitcoin's had 2, one of which required a chain rollback, one of which was caught by a Bitcoin Cash developer, and I don't know when the next one's coming because it's spaghetti code, it's not modular, and anytime they upgrade one part of it, they could fuck up the consensus. That's another thing HEX does better. Our consensus code is locked away in a smart contract that you can't fuck with or accidentally edit, and so it's nearly impossible to get an inflation bug because the code is isolated and secured and immutable. It's not that way in Bitcoin. Anytime you want to upgrade your Bitcoin node, a lot of shit gets changed. Hope it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. That's where the last bug came from. Someone went to improve the network stack and make it a little bit faster, reduce the latency, and then oops, you can print as many free coins as you want now. And people just don't see that as a threat. Like, okay, well, if that's not a threat, like what is? Mint as many free coins as you want is the biggest possible threat you can think of, right? So,
yes.
So I'm doing things that are good for Bitcoin to benefit his bags, to keep it honest, to keep it real. I don't go on television and say stupid shit about it. I tell the truth about it, right? And he's not doing any of those things. He's not writing Bitcoin improvement proposals. He's not calling out people that are acting as though they invented the coin. He's not calling out people that are acting as though their altcoin is the real Bitcoin. I did those things. He did not. Well, fuck that guy. Because a lot of other founders that also have, $1 billion of equity are walking around talking shit about whatever they want. Arthur's a billionaire, talk shit. Brian Armstrong's a billionaire, talk shit. Vitalik, he ain't a billionaire, but he talks good shit and he's walking around doing the fucking thing. Well, where's our Lord and Savior Satoshi that everyone wants to worship? He ain't around. So he's a bitch or he's dead. And that's it.
Or he's just reaping the rewards.
No, he's not, because he would have to move his coins to do it.
That's true.
Yeah. So look, I want to be real. If you did a good thing and now you do bad things, well, I'm going to call you bad. If you did a good thing and now you do nothing, I'm going to call you lazy, right? The world keeps moving, motherfucker. You got to keep playing. You don't get to just do one thing once and just rent seek and sit on your ass for the rest of your life. I did that for 10 years, addicted to video games, and what happened? The world wasn't made better, and I wasn't made better, and it was a net loss for everyone involved. The world would have been better if I didn't have enough money to retire. The world would have been better if I didn't have enough money to retire, because I would have continued to be productive and effective. But instead, I became a fucking loser. Look at how badass I am after taking 10 years off. Imagine if I didn't take the 10 fucking years off.
So the only
It's longer than 10.
in the world of Richard Hart, the only way that Satoshi can exist right now in a state of grace is, in fact, if he's dead.
Well, yeah, or he's a fucking coward. Really,
Well,
that's about it.
What if he forgot the password to his wallet
You can
and
still
he's
write.
hiding in shame?
Well, then
Something
he should.
so stupid like that. You know?
Then he should let us know that happened, so the price can pump because with a known possible circulating supply is reduced. And then to make sure he wasn't lying, we could even soft fork out his coins or hard fork out his coins so that he couldn't go back on saying it. And then we'd have a more realistic supply number, right? Because he owns 5% of the fucking coins right now, which is a lot. 5% is a lot. He could write Bitcoin improvement proposals, and he could say that guy over there pretending to be me and reaping rewards from it isn't really me. There's a lot of very, very useful things he could do that have nothing to do with his private keys.
There's also the possibility he might have developed Alzheimer's and forgot that he was the one who made the project.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
But then again, apparently Craig Wright is the Satoshi.
Craig Wright is not Satoshi.
I think we all know
Craig
that.
Wright. Let me put it to this way. Let's talk about that person who I don't even like to use his name.
Ditto.
If you are an intelligent person who is effective and gets things done in the world, do you go back to college and just collect a bunch of random degrees to look smart? A shitty college in the middle of nowhere? No one's ever done that because people don't like wasting their fucking time. But he did that. Do you publish a bunch of papers that are found to be so inaccurate and full of bullshit that you have to unpublish them as people point out how fucking stupid they are? Nope. Because publishing and peer review and finding out that things are stupid, you have to leave them up there so that people can learn from the lesson, so that whatever you fucked up, the next guy doesn't fuck up. So
Yes.
we need publishing of more negative outcomes from science and to leave those papers that were all fucked up where they were, right? Do you think a person that invented a system that removes trust and removes counterparties and uses digital signatures to do that, do you think he would use digital signatures to prove shit that he wanted people to believe, or would he just flap his lips a lot? He invented a system to get rid of lip flapping. He would not flap his lips to prove shit. He would present evidence. He also wouldn't change his speech patterns from friendly to belligerent and cocksuckerish.
Yeah.
He also wouldn't spend millions of dollars of fantasy money on modeling something when he already had a history of mining the living fuck out of it. He would just use that money to mine it some more because that's game theory positive. You actually get something for your money. So if you're going to buy computers and fuck around with Bitcoin, you're going to buy mining hardware. You're not going to buy modeling hardware because that shit's not profitable. Let's go into some of his claims that don't make any fucking sense. I can't do a good Australian accent right now, or I would. People don't realize this. Sounds like a George Bush accent. What the fuck? Just do me. People, God, I need to say it as another voice or someone will think I'm actually saying it. If you have discovered that Bitcoin can be made into a Turing machine, which basically means a computer that can do all forms of computation, you indeed have discovered nothing because you're a fucking dumbass. Magic the Gathering card game is Turing complete. Excel, the software that Windows makes for doing spreadsheets, is also Turing complete. Lots of random stupid bullshit are Turing complete systems. However, they're inefficient and shitty, just like the two-tape Turing machine that you can force Bitcoin to become. It has no utility, it has no throughput, it is horrible and retarded. But because people fall for complexity, like proof of complexity and proof of buzzwords, and they just think that shit they don't understand has got to be right, let me let you know a secret. Most shit you don't understand is wrong. The vast majority of things are wrong. Only a very small set of things is actually true. Okay? 2 plus 2 is 4. Think about all the numbers 2 plus 2 isn't. 2 plus 2 is not 5. 2 plus 2 is not 3. 2 plus 2 is not 0. Unless you're operating in modulos, but usually people aren't. So the vast majority of shit people says is likely to be wrong, and a small minority is likely to be right when you're talking about very complex technical matters. So saying that Bitcoin is a two-tape Turing machine is entirely useless and stupid, because so is Excel and so is Magic the Gathering fucking card game. And you can Google in Wikipedia the list of other novel Turing complete systems, because it's fucking irrelevant. You can force computation out of anything that allows you to do memory and transmogrify things into the forms that can do computation. It's just not, it's not interesting or unique. And he doesn't understand selfish mining. He doesn't understand probabilities. He got poor grades in his shitty college classes that were at colleges that no one's ever fucking heard of before. And he's been broke forever, which is why he didn't have fuck all for employees or fuck all for history, or, you know, it's just all a bunch of shit talk and smoke and fucking mirrors and garbage. And people are stupid. And in a world where trust has never been cheaper, you have webcams now, right? Like when you get an exchange account, they want to know it's really you. Okay, take a selfie. Just like 4chan, right? Take a selfie with a timestamp, right? Well, show me the, you know, proofs are really easy to come by these days. Really, really fucking easy. And then people just don't require any of it. And they just accept huge statements. The stronger the statement you make, the stronger the evidence you should require to support it. The weaker statement you make, okay, fine. Okay, you say you invented the question mark. I think you're just crazy. I'm not even going to fuck with it. Okay, you say you invented the question mark and you're really serious about it. All right, I'm going to require a lot of evidence for that. First, I think it's like a couple hundred years old, so you're going to have to establish that you're ageless, I guess, is our first move here. I bet it's a couple thousand years old, really. I actually just looked into this. The period is from Greece a couple thousand years ago. So I would imagine the question mark is similar. And they call it the full stop if you want to look it up on Wikipedia. I should be doing things better with my time, I know, yes. I should be looking up the history of punctuation.
Oh, good. Now, a couple of months ago, I think it was a couple of months ago, myself and Rob came across a video on YouTube of some dude interviewing Craig Wright and referring to him as, "I'm now with the real Satoshi Nakamoto. How are you, Mr. Wright?" And this guy was pretty much passive aggressive throughout the interview towards the interviewer. But this interviewer looked like he was ready to lick Craig's asshole. He was so excited about it. And it was sickening to watch. It was cringeworthy. My heart was racing. And I couldn't watch it all. And Rob had the same deal, mate. Like, the real Satoshi is sitting here next to me. Like,
yeah,
disgusting.
It sucks.
People like that in the industry.
The history of people falling for scammers is long. And the only thing you can do is starve him for attention. So that's why I don't use his name. Can't Google it and fall for the shit. So I try and use a diode, a risk diode. It's an invention I came up with. So diodes just let electricity flow one direction. And I try and do the same thing with risk. So if I know someone's a fucking scammer, I won't name them. You won't be able to find them. But if you already know them, you know who I'm talking about. And then you know who I'm shit talking. And then I don't pollute and fuck over all the people that are going to fall for it and Google a new thing. But the people that have already fallen for it, I can help free them from their bondage, right? I think that's one of the only ways to fight these scams, because people are so stupid that they will just fall for that shit. So you can't just use their name and reference their arguments. You'll end up doing more harm than good. Look at what the community did, and then look at his position. It went up, not down. So whatever the community did didn't work.
And what is your stance on the hate speeches coming from Nouriel Roubini?
Well, a lot of what Nouriel says is true. No, I hate him. He's a little bitch. I'd like to sit him down and rip a good fart in his face while I cried. You know, he thinks he's smart, but he's a broke little bitch. And all the crypto people he's talking to have got more money than he does. And I don't know. He looks like he thinks he's strong, but he's a short little bitch, balding and such. So he's not physically imposing. He's not financially imposing. At least he says a lot of shit that's true, right? Here's the problem, right? if you say a lot of things that are true technically and the price keeps going up, what do you think the audience actually gives a fuck about? They give a fuck about the price going up. They want to make money. And so if you say, Bitcoin can't scale, well, you might be right, but the price keeps going up, so why do I care? Oh, Bitcoin isn't accepted anywhere. You might be right, and neither is gold, and the price keeps going up, so why do I care? And so there's this actual dishonesty in trying to look hard and cool by saying a bunch of shit that is true, but no one should actually give a fuck about because the price keeps going up. The price went up 50%, 40% yesterday. Did anything good actually happen? Was it accepted someplace new? Did we get some software improvements? Did we change the logo? Did we make a new partnership? No, we didn't do any of that shit. Price went up 50%. Okay, well, for normal fucking humans, that's way more than good enough. That's like, 7 or 10 years of really good gains in the stock market, and you got them in a day. Okay, well, then I don't really give a fuck about most of these things, which happen to be true but are irrelevant, right? So he'll say, so I'll give you the list of things. And he gets paid to go on stage and say these things as well because he is poor and can't afford to speak for free. I always speak for free because I'm rich. So I don't need anyone to actually pay me, right? And I don't really speak very often because it's actually not a good use of my time. I could direct message some of my followers and get 10 to 20x of performance that I'll get speaking on stage at any crypto event, period. So it's better and smarter for me to actually just talk to people that already follow me or talk to new people that aren't even in crypto yet. Any of those things is superior than me just talking in front of a bunch of people that have probably already seen me say some of these things before. But, I guess if people keep inviting you to shit, you can't say no all the time. So you got to say yes sometimes or you stop getting invited. It feels good to get invited. And, people want to take selfies with you and it feels nice and all that. I'm kind of immune to that. It's not what I'm into, but it improves your benefit to the world, and the ability for people to take what you say seriously is a function of how serious they think other people take you. And so your street cred and people's perception of you is very important if you want to improve people's lives. So if you don't do that, like, oh, look, I'm covered in jewelry. This shit takes time to put on. This isn't an accident, right? Now, in the real world, that means that I'm less. I'm trying for you, right? Which means I'm less. But in the emotional world where we actually operate, I'm more because our brains go, stuff, like stuff. He has stuff. And that's just how our brains work, right? So girls wear makeup and, guys wear fucking stuff that looks better and not worse, and it just works, right? So appearing on stage next to other captains of industry and saying interesting things that other people don't know to say, and being willing to crush, like, the last event I was at, there was people who would go up and do their pitches and I would just crush them. I would just tell them straight up they're scammers right there on stage because I don't give a fuck. But few other people on the stage would be willing to do that because there's a personal cost to them. But I can afford that personal cost, right? There's a place for it. I think it should be done in moderation. Go to a couple events, look awesome, people know you're awesome, and then actually go do real work that's productive, right? So you go there and you get the low-hanging fruit, and then you actually go be productive. If you spend a lot of time at conferences, I think you're retarded. Or you don't have any better options. Like you might not be able to be useful other places.
I've observed that the people that tend to be at conferences, you almost start to wonder, well, when are you actually doing stuff? Because I can account for your movements 90% of the time. I know where you are. When do you work?
Exactly. Right. Like work is not getting done there. I have been to many conferences. I've operated booths. I've had booth girls. I've given out trinkets. I have done the wide range of all of the marketing conference things. I've judged startup pitches. I've been on panels. You fucking name it. I've done it all. I know where they go. It's for me, we live in a digital world now. You don't really need to be in person to do these things. I will say I am speaking at a conference. I haven't told anyone this yet. I'm speaking at the Malta Blockchain Conference November 8th, I believe. You can check their like agenda and see me on there.
Nice.
So I looked at the list. I'm like, all right, the Prime Minister of Malta is going to be there. Some Draper's going to be there. There's some ballers going to be there. All right, well, I'll get to go hang out with some ballers in the industry. Cool. If it wasn't for all the ballers that were there, what am I going to go do? Listen to other people that know less than me about stuff? Not for me, right? And I'm only on stage for like 10 or 20 minutes. I'll probably get invited to a bunch of other stuff when I'm actually there. But now it's just slotted for 10 or 20 minutes. I'm going to talk to you guys for hours, right? And we haven't even touched maybe 10% of the shit we could touch. So to fly down and do all this shit, like if the really cool people weren't there, I wouldn't do it.
Have you ever been burnt by a shitcoin yourself? Or have you been like...
I got a big bag of Prime Coin. That's about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know if it's a big bag, but it's like, I don't like it. This dude said that he was going to do something with the project, and then he didn't do what he said he was going to do, and then
he disappeared off on holidays forever?
Something like that. So what are you going to do? Like, it's open source, right? So, like, I could hire my devs to go do the thing he was going to do. But why the fuck do I want to pull up all these other leeches now, right? Like, it just... Yeah. The thing he did before that went up, like, 400x or 40x or some giant number of fucking x, like 180x I think it was, 179 point something. So I thought I was going to do the same shit again. Let's give it a try. And then he didn't do it, so whatever.
Were you ever burnt by the Mt. Gox collapse, or were you again one of the lucky ones?
No, I knew not to leave my coins on exchange.
Like you did trade on Mt. Gox before the collapse?
Everyone that bought in early bought on Mt. Gox.
Yeah.
There was nowhere else
Because
to buy.
about 3 days before the collapse, I was using other exchanges, and I never really bothered with Mt. Gox until about 3 weeks before, and they took forever to verify my ID.
You got lucky.
And I couldn't trade. And then it was about
I got
3
lucky
days.
too, because I was thinking of buying some of their like cheap tokens that when they opened back up, you'd be able to redeem them and all that shit. Because Roger said, hey, this looks like it could be a good idea. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to look into that, right? And then the guy was late to open my account as well. And then by the time I got around to it, the shit was already shut. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God I didn't do that.
So, because we're running out of time, just lastly, what's next on the HEX timeline? What awaits us in the future? What can we expect?
So the audits are done. We're just cleaning up the language, and we're pushing some aesthetic updates. Like we renamed the functions to be prettier, and we have to like lock. So because we now know exactly how large certain things are going to be, we could reduce the amount of storage space they take, which reduces the amount of gas that we use, which means that we can increase the maximum stake length. So we have to like just decide, is it going to be 10 years? Is it going to be 15 years, right? So that gets locked, and then all the other like fixes, of which there's really only one, which is a pre-image attack against the Merkle tree. You can Wikipedia that if you want to read about that form of attack. So that's all done, right? Like the audits are done. There's only two functions an audit has. One, find bugs. We're totally over with that phase. And two, make people feel secure like you are, that everything's awesome. And that's, we're just putting the language in there and all the buzzwords and all the cool stuff that we did so that people understand why this is so well designed. And then, now we could just launch without even publishing this if we wanted to. But since I've already paid a shitload for them, might as well actually get something out of them and publish them. And so now what else is left? Well, the wallet. And the wallet, I've already done walkthroughs. If you want to see some walkthroughs of the wallet that you'll use to send your coins and make your claims and make your stakes and end your stakes and do all that stuff, you can go to t.me/hex videos, and they're there. You just have to scroll up a bit, and little things need to be changed, like get rid of decimals. We don't need decimals, right? There's a lot of hex. There's billions of hex. We don't need to have the decimal showing. It's just, clutter. And I might do that tonight. Like when I get off this call, I've already got my editor open and I've already got the variable there to change how many digits show. And I'll probably just change a number and click save and then be able to do my demo with a reasonable number of digits showing. So once the audits are published, or maybe before, whatever I decide, and once this final screen, which I hear is already done, for the adoption amplifier, where you send Ethereum to transform it into hex, then we can just set the snapshot date, right? So, nice. And then the snapshot date's 2 weeks and 2 days in the future from whenever we say it will be, right? So I need to give you 2 weeks and 2 days warning, because it could take 2 days to fuck around with the blockchain and edit it to make sure that we got rid of the Mt. Gox coins and that stuff. And we give you 2 weeks to just manage, like get access to your private keys and make sure your coins are in a non-multi-sig address. Like we support normal SegWit, which is pay to witness public key hash. Normal Bitcoin addresses that start with a 1, those are pay to public key hash. We also support pay to public key, which is a very old style of address. That's probably what all of Satoshi's coins are stored in. So those are the 3 address formats we support, which are something like 80% of all coins, maybe something like that. The math is all on if you want to read about like all the different Bitcoin address formats and which ones we support, and because we don't support lots of them, those coins get given to the stakers after they get multiplied by the adoption bonuses on day 353. You can go to hex.win /techspecs.html and you'll see all that cool stuff, right? The website's very good. Like, I had 2 options. It's like, all right, I'm going to write this white paper, and then I'm writing the white paper, and I'm like, actually, let's just stick all this on the website. And so, like, the website is the white paper. There's increasingly almost no content left that would go in the white paper that's not on the website, and I believe that's superior, because it just scales better. But what else? Yeah, so we set everything's like done. It's so close to done. I've got one screen which one of my 2 devs working in parallel says is already complete. I have to review their work, and I want my other dev to review their work as well. Yeah, like it's super close. It really should be November.
You must be very excited now. Very excited.
I'm excited fatigued, right? So predicting when software will launch is so hard that I'm excitement fatigued. I think that like once I've got a good video demo out of all the functions, like, which could be next week, then I'll be fucking happy. Because then I'm more happy to call exchanges, right? It's like, yo, here we are, past 2 audits, and here's a walkthrough, or I could put it up on a testnet as well. The thing that's hard about putting this up on a testnet is that you need to claim, and in order to claim, you have to have a balance, right? So like, I guess it's not that hard. I would like to see this on a testnet before it's on mainnet. It'd be very easy to do, and people could just get practice and screw around, But in order to transact on a testnet, you need to have testnet Ethereum, right? And so you got to go to a faucet and get yourself some testnet Ethereum, and then you got to go into MetaMask and go to a little box and tell it the network you're on is the testnet. And I think it's good practice, It's definitely industry standard to testnet before mainnet. So
one more thing. Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so go to hex.win, slap your email address in there. The list hasn't been mailed for like a year. It's going to be mailed very soon. I'm thinking of actually sending everyone a referral link that they can use by making them an Ethereum account and sending them their private key as well, which is totally insecure. However, it is superior to just not referring anybody and not having the chance of getting paid at all. They would do better if they were referred by you. They would get paid more, and you would do better. And as long as you sweep the funds out of your private key before your evil email admin does, then it all works out. So I'm 50-50. I'm like 60-40. I will just mass batch create for all, 17,000 emails, an Ethereum wallet for each of them, let them know it's not secure, but it's better than nothing. If you want to do this the right way, install MetaMask and make your own fucking address. And then there's, when you go on the website at the bottom, it has a copy of your referral link thing. You're just pasting your Ethereum address to the end of the URL with /?r equals in between, right? So it's hex.win /?r equals your Ethereum address. Any Ethereum address works. You can make it any way you want. But for those people that just are too busy or stupid to install a wallet, okay, fine. Well, then you can use this link, right? And here's your private keys. And I hope your evil email admin doesn't steal them.
Well, what you're going to get is, that Richard Hart is a really nice guy. He sent me this ready-made Ethereum wallet. I've got my life savings ready to go in. What a wonderful man he is.
Yeah. Like I hope they don't do that. So that's the trade-off. It's like, yeah, the trade-off is like, do you want to never refer someone because you're always waiting for that day when you actually install your wallet? Or do you want to have this like less secure option that you can use if you want to? It's 60-40. Maybe I'll get lucky and the tool just won't work quickly, and then I just won't have to do it. But if the tool does work quickly, that mass generates these public-private key pairs, I believe it is going to work. Because believe it or not, that generating of public-private key pairs, I believe it's BIP39. It's used by like nearly all cryptos because it's just good. So Ethereum uses it, Bitcoin uses it, and so I'm actually generating Ethereum public-private key pairs with a Bitcoin tool that just works for a lot of stuff. That's what I mean about the sharing in the ecosystem. A lot of the things in crypto are borrowed from other places, and that's how open source is. That's how open source is supposed to work.
Going back to earlier in the show, just quickly, you mentioned that you were a gamer.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
A bit different. Yeah.
Sure. When I was younger, I used to play in a tournament paintball team, which is fun. And then back then, we would play StarCraft, the original StarCraft. And then many, many years later, StarCraft 2 came out. It took forever. And me and my friends and I, before we even play StarCraft, we would play Warcraft 2, I believe, where you'd get a ballista and shoot giant arrows. And then there was another game where we had orcs or ogres that you would bloodlust. I think that was Warcraft 2. So that was just fun. We would always have LAN parties and do that stuff, and we'd play Quake and etc. The first thing we played was Doom 2 on BBS before the internet existed. It was awesome. The guy that learned to use mouse first just killed everyone's ass because we were always using Gravis mouse pads and like scroll right, scroll left, and the dude that's just like plah, he's gonna win, right? And then you cheat too. Like if you strafed sideways against the wall, it would make you run faster. Like it would take the energy of strafing against the wall and then turn it into vertical energy instead of horizontal. I guess it would be lateral and forward. So, and then, I got into Team Fortress 2 and DayZ, which was amazing back when it was a mod, and League of Legends, which is fucking horrible cancer, just the goddamn worst. What else? Yeah, so StarCraft 2, I had like 20,000 wins. So I wasted like a couple man years of life playing that game. Got a Predator icon. It means you get a Predator icon, you have to have 1,000 wins on Zerg, Protoss, Terran, and random. So that's 4,000 wins. You only win half your games because of the matchmaking system. So that's 8,000 games. And the games are average about 20 minutes each. So it's 8,000 times 20 minutes, which is like 8,000 divided by 3 hours. It's fucking, 2,800 hours or something. So that's, there's only 2,000 hours in a year, right? 40-hour week, 50 weeks. That's 2,000. So that's, a good man year, at least, of just fucking wasted life, which is not so good. And I also blew a lot of time. Man, yeah, but you know what? You're going to enjoy anything you're good at, man. So I would have had more fun doing live streams. I would have had more fun going out to clubs, which I guess I also did at the time. Like I used to also go out every night, which isn't that good for your health, believe it or not. So I haven't drank in like a year and a half, maybe now. Maybe more. I don't know. Hard to keep track. Working so hard, time begins to like blend, you know? Because I wake up and I work until I'm too tired and I go to sleep. Now, unfortunately, some of what I do is tweet to these ungrateful, retarded fucks, and I shouldn't do that. Like, I should stop. Really, should just stop tweeting. It's just a hard habit to break. I would be better off finishing the Sci-Fi book than tweeting. I would be better off, you know, like doing goddamn near anything. But then interesting shit happens. You're like, oh, the price went up 40%. Oh, this needs to suck a day or two out of my life now. Well, why? Like, okay, so the price went up 40%. Cool. Your bags got more valuable. How did the tweeting help, right? Like, fuck tweeting. It's just, I guess to me, now I've cut it down. I used to do it a lot more. I need to cut that shit to zero, basically. I'm not maximally productive as a human being giving away free knowledge to only 50,000 people when I could change my tactics and reach millions. 50,000 is a pitifully small number in the real world. It's gigantic in crypto, pitifully comedically small in the real world. And that is the scale. The ideas that I have are of a quality and are presented in a nature that I should be speaking to millions and not just thousands, because I can improve a lot of people's lives. So I need to stop doing what's easy and start doing what's hard. And so whenever you're thinking about what you should do in life, the world is supply and demand. And what is the supply of tweets? There's too many goddamn tweets. So what is your payoff on tweets? Fucking low. If you were the only guy tweeting, you'd do pretty well, right? So what should you do? You should do the things that will be rewarded maximally, because they're things that very few other people can do or want to do, and you can, right? So how many people are qualified to have this level of discourse about cryptocurrencies? 30, 40, maybe. I mean, if you had to have someone go in front of Congress to defend crypto, it's going to be like Andreas, Trace Meyer, or me. Who else? Like, that's like it, right? So, who?
Craig Wright.
No, Craig wrong.
Craig Wright.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think for me, crypto is nice. Making more money is nice, but really more money doesn't actually change my life. Like, I already have a lot of the best shit. Like, it doesn't really change my life much. What will change my life is better medical technology, right? So I need better medicine in the world, and everything needs to point to that direction. I'm fucking old now. Like, this medicine needs to get started going 20 years before I need it. Well, that's fucking now. Like, that shit needs to start now. Or 20 years from now when I need it, boy, it ain't going to be ready. And then I'm going to be dead like Steve Jobs. And I don't want to trade places with Steve Jobs.
The problem with that is in the pharmaceutical industry, they're more focused on treatments rather than cures. That's their way of capitalizing.
It's the reason for that is because it's not because they're evil cocksuckers trying to milk you for money. Although, if that were easier, I would accuse them of that. It's because reality's hard. Reality is really, really hard. And so in computing, you have what's called Moore's Law, where you get twice the transistors every year or two. About every 2 years, you get twice the transistors for the same money. Notice that doesn't say a fucking thing about speed, okay? Because things aren't really getting faster. Not at any rate that's interesting. You have the opposite of that in pharmaceuticals. It's called Eroom's Law, which is Moore's backwards. And it means that for the same amount of money, you'll get less and less drugs approved. And so all the low-hanging fruit of novel chemicals that can do cool things is kind of picked. And everything that is the next level is harder. Gene therapy is harder. Things that take 20 years before you can get to market are harder. Getting a pharmaceutical to market is already hard enough. It takes 10 fucking years. 15 feels like a better number, but I'm just going to say 10. It takes a really long time to get a drug approved and through human clinical trials for human use, unless you have a weird rare disease, and then you can get like an exemption. So we need more of that. We need more of those things that have longer time horizons. I mean, I tell people, if you're going to die, very likely, and you're going to die of the same shit that killed everyone in your family tree, and there's thousands, if not millions, of entities in your family tree who are dead. And what did they die of? Well, let's just say, let's pull a number out of our ass that's current and just assume it applied to the past, which, probably didn't, but at least this will matter for the current. You're 40% likely to die of heart disease, you're 40% likely to die of cancer, on average. That's 80%. If you cure heart disease, you'll only live 3 years longer. What? But everyone thinks it's 20. Yeah, I thought it was 22. The reason it's not is because if we cure that shit, the same things that caused it just cause something else instead. So when you go to the hospital and you go to the cancer wing, it's all old people. Why? Because the vast majority of people that get cancer got it because they're old. If you go to the heart disease wing, it's all old people. Why? Because the vast majority of heart attack victims got the heart attacks because age, right? So if you get rid of heart attacks, you get rid of cancer, both, which kill 80% of everyone. People live on average 7 years longer. Well, that's not a lot of fucking years. Fuck 7 years. Turtles live 200 years. Tortoises. Lobsters live 200 years. Clams live 500 years. There's immortal jellyfish. Aspen trees live thousands of fucking years. There's a lot of shit that stays alive for a really long fucking time. Well, we need to be one of those things. It's a tragedy that the most effective, useful people that create new industries, the guy that invented the transistor, the guy that discovered electricity, the guy that invented computing, these fuckers are all dead now because they died of age. That is terrible and horrible for progress. That's the worst thing that could be happening to mankind, is that people die after a short burst of productivity in their last 10 or 20 years of life. Back then when you die at 40 or 50, they just fucking disappear. And then there's something else people don't realize is, even if we cure cancer and we cure heart disease, once you reach a certain age, you're more likely to become crazy than you are to die. And so the rate at which you will get Alzheimer's exceeds the rate at which you will die. And so even if we make these huge interventions in the physical things, we still have to do the mental thing, which is also a physical thing. But my point is that there's a lot of curing that we need to be doing, and too many people are working on rate my sandwich apps or crypto or a bunch of other shit that just ain't healing anybody. Now, I do like these things that could help medicine, right? So we have more efficient systems, more efficient economies, better material science, better computing science, better imagery. That shit all is going to give those people better tools to kick the ass that they need to kick. In the end, someone needs to work on the meat. We are the meat. There ain't going to be no mind uploading. Why is there no mind uploading? Because you think your memories run on the meat. What you don't realize is your memory is the meat. And the only way you can move the memory is to create new meat identical to the old meat, which is basically a Star Trek replicator machine. And that shit doesn't exist, right? So since we don't have replicator machines, you can't make physical copies of people's brains, you're not going to be able to exfiltrate data. It will not fucking happen. The meat is the memory. And that's this huge misconception that transhumanists have, that everything's going to be okay because we have technological progress. Well, you know what? You don't really have meat progress. Your meat progress sucks balls. You've been compressing morbidity and increasing life expectancy, but lifespan hasn't moved a fucking day. 122 is the maximum any human being has ever lived. Jeanne Calment. Funny story about her. She got a reverse mortgage on her house at like 80. A reverse mortgage is where you pay someone until they die and then you get their house. And this fucking guy just happened to pay a woman who lived longer than any other human ever. So he got the absolute maximum fucked on a reverse mortgage ever. Like a philosopher named Voltaire actually got a reverse mortgage too. He would tell people that he was about ready to die, and he would try and look extra sick and shit, like, I just gonna try and enjoy my last few years of life. People would fucking get the reverse mortgage to him, and then he just, became healthy again. A new burst of energy.
Doing better than ever.
Yeah. So we need more research. We need more science. I tell people to go to sens.org, Strategies for Engineered Negligible Senescence. They're really working on things that can give us more than 3 years, more than 7 years. If we can get 1 year every year, we reach longevity escape velocity. If we can rejuvenate 1 year of aging every year, then you're just going to die of accident, statistically at about the age of 600. That's a good deal. That's better. And it's inevitable. This will occur. It's just a question of whether your ass will be alive to see it or not. This will fucking happen, you know. But whether you're here to see it or not is the question. That's the real goal. And so after HEX, it's survive, like survive through science, try and make the movement more popular. And then it's save your assets fund, which is really save your ass. So if you can buy a green fund that makes you rich while being green, why can't you buy a fund that saves your ass and invest in medicine that might save you? You, not all this other weird shit you're not going to get. You, right? Should exist, right? You should be able to get rich investing in medical technology that just might fucking save your life. That fund needs to exist. Now, I've been told that there are some people, like there's a girl named Laura Deming that has a fund called the Longevity Fund, and she's on Peter Thiel's, squad, and Peter Thiel's a badass. So maybe look into what she's doing, right? So maybe in addition to sense.org, maybe longevity.org, I think it is. You can look her up, Laura Deming. Maybe her shit's great too. I think there's two other funds out there. So I might not have to start the Save Your Assets Fund. And then there's more to just doing VC in that way. You could also do synthetic biology startups like my friend Bill Liao has done with Rebel Bio, which was previously called SynBio. And they're based in Cork, Ireland. And they have a synthetic biology accelerator. So we've got startups in the space, we've got larger investments, we've got VC stuff, and it'd be nice to have the governments invest properly. Investing in medical rejuvenation technology is superior to curing cancer. If you cure cancer, you only get 3 years, period. That's the fucking facts. If you cure heart disease, you get 3 years, period. That's the facts. The people that make these facts make billions of dollars a year. They're insurance companies. They know exactly when a person like you is going to die, and that's how they know how much to charge your ass. And so when you look at the actuarial tables that they use to generate that profit, you just go down to the one called increase in life expectancy by elimination of cause of death. And you can just scratch off whatever cause of death you want and see how much longer the average person will live, at least in the West. In other countries, obviously, their stats are different. Get hit by a bus there, get some other terrible disease. I'm talking about people in the West. So donate to SENS, check out Laura Deming's Longevity Fund. Learn how to fix meat, and if you can't learn how to fix meat, invest in other people to do so, or you'll be a real sad bitch when you watch everyone you love die. My grandparents died, I didn't do anything for them. My dog died, I didn't do anything for her. Soon it'll be me, soon it'll be everyone else I love. Let's fight the Grim Reaper while we can on our feet, instead of pretending that shit's not coming, and watching sports, or fucking jerking off all day long, or whatever fuckery you're involved in. There's a war being fought, and you can be part of it instead of being a pussy, and try and, then when that day comes, you're fucking prepared for it. In the Three Little Pigs story, I want to be the fucker in the brick house. And when some pathology comes to fucking ruin my life, I'd like to be able to fight it. And I got to tell you, mental health is another thing. I just recently had someone close to me go crazy, and it ain't no fun. It ain't no fun. And whether that person will become the person I met or not is going to be a function of chemicals. We need more of them. And we need good ones. Because right now, if you're bipolar, there's no cure. You can live with that for the rest of your life. When you look up the stats on bipolar, it causes more years of disability than anything else. Because if you get some other shit, you just die. This shit can fuck you up and keep you fucked up for a long time. And so the years start adding up, And it's like, it's rough, man.
And there's different levels to bipolar as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah, I mean, you can get bipolar that presents with psychosis, and then they're living in a world that you're not in, and then you're like, do I try and go into their world, or do I try and pull them into mine, or what? It's just not, it's not easy.
There you go. Now, for those who are watching, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Retweet and share this video, share the love, because a lot of effort goes into these streams. And if we have any questions from the live chat box, now would be the time, because I think we're coming to an end soon. Am I really echoey?
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds like you're in a bathroom, but you might be able
I'm
to
in
fix that
a
in post.
yeah, I'm in a new location for this stream, which I haven't been to before.
Just slap carpets and tapestries on the walls, and you'll be good to go. I know you're into that
Yes.
rock and roll stuff, so there's some cool red velvet or black velvet curtains that would fit real well.
Yeah.
And Darko, we got to get you a candelabra.
Can't beat it. If you're gonna make
Yes.
human sacrifices, you really got to have all the tools.
That's
They
true.
don't let
That's
you into the
true.
Illuminati without lighting the fireworks.
And you need an assistant as well. This Evil David.
It helps.
You'll be seeing more of Evil David in the next edit of this stream.
So I'll ask my viewers for a question. Let's see what pops up. Hey viewers, you're probably lagged by about 20 seconds because I stream at 4K. And it takes a long time for YouTube to transcode it and deliver it to you. So here's your chance. Ask the best question you have, and maybe I will answer one of them. Go. No, I'll give them 10 seconds to come up with anything. Do you guys see anything good on your side?
Yeah, Richard, why do people think they get rich with XRP? I thought the whole point of it was that the price doesn't change in 2 seconds and bank holds it while transacting.
People buy coins because they think the price is going to go up. And in crypto, they're usually right. It also goes down. So it's kind of like a good game of luck. Yeah, I don't like that token. I don't care for it. But it's like any other shitcoin. It goes up vertical and then dies for a few years, usually. So could do another vertical thing someday for some reason. It's like, it's possible. It just, the use case doesn't matter. Adoption doesn't matter. What matters is there are more people buying than selling. Crypto doesn't have any adoption anywhere. Like 90% of the market cap of all crypto is totally not from utility. The most used cryptocurrency is the one that isn't crypto. Tether is the most used cryptocurrency, and it's 100% centralized with a single counterparty. So, and then it does more transaction volume than any other currency. I wouldn't have predicted that. That's very interesting to me. The market taught me something there that I wouldn't have predicted. And these other currencies that don't have any adoption, they go up in price because it doesn't matter whether they have adoption or not. It just matters whether people are using them, or if they're buying them more and selling them less, right? So like, it doesn't, it's really kind of irrelevant to the price, because as long as people are willing to buy shit to speculate. I'll put it this way. If you look at your stack that you spend on like actually spending money, like how much do you spend on dinner per year? And then how much do you spend on your investments per year? And you'll find a lot of people just don't eat as much as they invest. And then those people buy crypto. And they are able to input more economic energy as an investment vehicle than they would using it for food shopping, right? Because here's what you don't realize. Being a store of value is worth at least 10 times more than being a transactional network. Gold is worth $9 trillion. Visa, MasterCard, PayPal combined are all worth like less than 9 billion. Or less than 900 billion, sorry. So why is that? Because if you have $100, remember earlier I told you how to get 40% out of people you refer by having them free claim and then turn it into ETH and then use the adoption amplifier. You're working with an entity that has a finite economic energy, and you're trying to extract the maximum of that for yourself, is how that game works, right? And in the payment networks game, same thing applies. People have finite economic energy, and you're trying to skim as much of that off as you can and then increase their transaction volume to skim more, right? So you skim as much as you can and then multiply it as many times as you can. This is how that game works. Now, what's the absolute maximum that you could possibly get? Well, 100%. You could charge a 100% fee. Okay, well, that doesn't work for payment networks because money goes in one side and then the users expect it to come out the other side. But in crypto, they don't. People buy it and they hold it, and they don't expect anything to come out the other side. And so getting people to buy something as a store of value is nearly infinitely better than getting somebody to use something as a transactional network where money comes in and then leaves, and comes in and then leaves, and comes in and then leaves, and you just get this little sliver. If money comes in and never leaves, boy, can the price go high. And that's the reason that the crypto price goes so high, is because money comes in and it doesn't leave. Now, wouldn't it be an interesting idea to create some type of game theory that would be like the Hotel California for money, where you can check out, but you can never leave. The money comes in and it never leaves, and the price just keeps going up because everyone's waiting for the big payday. And the price doesn't go higher than it needs to because everyone knows what the future supply looks like. And the price doesn't go lower than it needs to because people time their end stakes to not oversaturate the market at any point. And since the staking share price only goes up and can only go up by design programmatically, people don't want to stake shorter than they possibly have to, because when they go to restake, they're going to have to pay a much higher price. They're going to get much less shares. Man, that would pump harder than anything anyone's ever made before. And then if you could find a referral program to onboard users and people could make money telling other people about it, I mean, you'd have all the onboarding power of a Ponzi scheme, but without the shitty exit scam dump at the end. It could just pump and pump and pump. Someone should invent that. They should call it hex.win.
We have a question from Chris K. What's the story with his bear? All right, so basically the story with this bear is, once upon a time he was human. He was driving down the woods while playing with the air coins up, lost control of his vehicle, slid into a tree. He died next to a dead panda bear. His spirit moved from his body into the dead panda. Hence, the other Crypto Freak Show co-host, Evil David, that's what we call him. And every time he opens his mouth, it's not so nice. He's not a very pleasant dude to hear and see when he's in action. But for more on Evil David, you'll see him in the next version of this stream. I'm sure it'll be very nice to Richard, and it'll be very exciting, very entertaining stuff. So that's the story with the bear.
I would say that all of the most evil people that I've met are all very nice. Whenever I'm hanging out with death metal guys, they're all very, very nice people. I've never actually met any evil people that looked evil. Most of the evil people I've met looked like corporate guys.
Yeah.
They wouldn't get very far if they looked evil.
True. That's a good point.
Hanson.
Someone in chat asked, what the fuck's a bear?
What's
He's
that?
making fun of your accent. Bear, like B-E-H. Anyway.
Oh.
Someone asked, do I think Satoshi Nakamoto is a person or team? I think it's a person. They spoke with a single voice. Their timing was that of a person who had to sleep. Like the analysis of their language and the patterns at which they posted and the rate at which they could program and scale, it all appears to be a single human. Furthermore, teams can't collude. You always have collusion failure, and then coins get spent. So because the coins have never moved, it also gives more credence to the concept of it being a single actor. Do I think Trace Meyer is Satoshi Nakamoto? No. He's not. He's not even a developer.
Richard, you still going?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Crustbox is asking you, but I think both you and Rob will be answering this together. I think McAfee said Bitcoin at 1 million by the end of 2020. Was he kidding? And what do you think?
No, he's serious, but he also understands the value of getting free press for making outlandish statements. McAfee's a smart guy. He knows that if you say crazy shit, you can go on television and talk about the crazy shit you said. And he got to do that. So, no, Bitcoin isn't going to be $1 million in 2020, I don't think. But if you say that it will, you get to be on TV. So, what's game theory optimal for him? To be on TV and get more followers and get to have a cool conversation? Or to try and be more mathematically true to a reasonable model and no one gives a fuck? So it makes sense for him to say shit like that. He did very well doing that. I should probably do that too, but
Yeah.
I just find it very hard to do. I like to say things that I feel are very accurate. I don't think there's any price model that supports that. I mean, if you look at what price has done, you end up with a regression chart, a linear regression chart, and it goes up less fast, not faster. So you're not,
Then again, it is crypto and anything is possible. And back in the day when Bitcoin was $1 or $10 a pop, no one ever thought it'd be possible for it to reach 20,000.
Well, the regression chart did, and we've really if you look at the linear regression chart for Bitcoin, its predictions have been pretty damn accurate. And yes, it said crazy high numbers back then, and they tended to become true. So it's like, it's hard for human beings to intuit exponential growth, but it's very easy for the linear regression function to look at previous exponential growth and project it into the future.
Any other questions, or is that it? Rob, do you have any other questions?
No, I have nothing. Most of my questions for Rich.
I'll just shill everything and tell everyone what they do, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/RichardHartWin. Follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/RichardHart. Go to our Telegram channel, t.me/HexCrypto, t.me/Strape, t.me/StrapeCharts, or Hex Memes, or Richard Hart GIFs, or Hex Videos, or Hex News, or Richard's Calls, price predictions. If you want to trade and get destroyed, go ahead and go on richardhart.win. It's a great place that's better than other places to go do that. Or you could stay non-wrecked and make sure that you've got capital for when HEX launches. If you want to make the most HEX, you can free claim. Snapshot should be November. If you don't already have Bitcoin, you're going to make more using Adoption Amplifier than trying to buy Bitcoin to free claim, because you're going to pay fees, and whatever you could have saved in fees, you could have just put into the Adoption Amplifier. And so like if it costs you $100 to get in and out of Bitcoin, then it would require more than $8 million be sent to the contract day one for you to have gotten a better deal free claiming. But you could also do both. You could free claim and transform it into ETH and then transform it into HEX. All those options are available to you. And if you go on the website /adoption-amplifier.html, you're going to be able to see the math and decide for yourself which path works out best for you. There's also like a profit predictor. You can go to stakehex.com and actually predict how much profit you can make. It models the whole network, and you can choose what you think people will do, and then it'll show you what your profit will be. Yeah, if you want us to donate to charity, sense.org. If you're interested in saving your life and not dying like a bitch and actually putting up a fight because you know it's coming, maybe Laura Deming's Longevity Fund, someplace for you to look. Read Sci-Vive, the book. It's awesome. It's two of them, really. I wrote 2 books. One stuff you can personally do, one stuff that is systematic, like how do we fix education, how do we fix politics. t.me/Sci-Vive. That's t.me/Sci-Vive, like survive through science. Yeah, go to hex.win, slap your email in the email address box, and I don't know, like, tweet, subscribe,
and if you haven't
click the bell.
subscribed, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and retweet this episode.
Please. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will. I don't think you're going to find a smarter podcast on crypto. You're just not. Like, we talk about the smartest stuff that could be useful to you. I think there's great value in that. You should share it with people.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thanks for the time, guys. I had fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I'll keep you notified with the next release of the second version of this stream. Before that happens, though, we'll be releasing a short promo trailer for it first.
Cool.
Like a normal trailer, like 1 minute long or something. And yeah, we'll be sharing that out to give people an indication of what to expect in the next segment.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm a bit funny today. I got a really sore throat, so I'm not talking properly. So yeah, for those who aren't aware, myself and Rob, we are from the Crypto Tonight channel, which hosts 2 shows, the Crypto Tonight show, which is crypto news, and the Crypto Freak Show, which is this, and Crypto Freak Show is dedicated to interviewing industry guests from the crypto and blockchain industry. Every episode we call a chapter. This is chapter 14th episode. And again, Evil David is one of the co-hosts that you'll see in the edit. And there's a lot of effects, a lot of fun. It's pretty cool. Check it out. If you do subscribe, please make sure you hit that notification bell. Otherwise, it's not worth subscribing. I mean, YouTube have put on this stupid notification bell. People subscribe for a reason, to get notified when a new upload is up.
I did a poll and asked my followers, what percentage of them actually were even notified after subscribing. And it was like 1/3 received the notice and 2/3 didn't. And these are people that even click the bell. So I'm rather certain that they just don't notify everybody.
Yeah, they get two options with the bell. Get some notifications or get all, apparently. They keep changing things around.
What a shit show.
It is.
What a shit show.
The big old fake blob, and God knows, we know what goes in, God knows what comes out. We don't depend on this shit.
I mean, again, I don't understand the concept. You subscribe for the reason of being notified every time.
There's no other reason to subscribe. That is the only thing that changes, is that you receive a notice. There is no other reason to subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, unless you're just trying to get his number of subscribers to be higher, like you care about the number. But yeah, It was good talking to you guys.
Likewise, brother.
I hope I'm able to show you some mad gains.
Even at mad gains. All right, thank you once again, and thank you to everybody for watching the 14th chapter of the Crypto Freak Show with Richard Hart. Until next time, we are the freaks.
See you guys.